You don't get 3 Michelin stars without being a perfectionist.
This week's episode is with Will Guidara, author of Unreasonable Hospitality, the best book on planet Earth, and it's sold over 1 million copies. Will was the co-founder of 11 Madison Park, which became the best restaurant in the world on the world's top 50 list. This episode is absolutely jam-packed, mate. You're going to learn absolutely loads. How to become a world-class leader, how to create world-class cultures where teams feel alive, how to use creativity to create magic, and also how to use hospitality in any business on planet Earth. Whether you're in the dog food business, airplane business, a UPS delivery driver, there's tons of stories and examples how you can apply unreasonable hospitality to anything.
I don't care what you're doing for a living. You can make the choice to be in the hospitality industry. I'm now going to look at the world through the lens of me 15, 20 years ago. I wanted to be great. I wanted to work for someone who would call me to a level of greatness I did not myself believe I was capable of.
So let's start there with the pursue contradictory goals. And I'd love you kind of to kind of detail that. And then we can go into how that applies to other categories.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference between diversifying a portfolio and the inherent tension between excellence and hospitality is that investing in more high risk opportunities that may go to zero, but also may go way up.
Yeah.
It complements the safer investment.
Yeah, that's the point.
And the safer investment complements this. I actually, at their core, while hospitality and excellence ultimately complement one another, they challenge one another. And that's the distinction between those two examples. I mean, the reality is that they're not friends.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy, and let's put easy in air quotes for the sake of the conversation, to pursue a culture of excellence if you're not concerned with being relentlessly human.
Yep.
In a restaurant, I could install a culture of fear where people are so scared of getting in trouble or whatever that they are very, very detailed. They are very excellent in their execution. And yet, anyone living in a culture of fear has a complete and utter inability to bring their most fully human selves to the table. Conversely, I could create an amazingly hospitable environment if all I did was celebrate everyone and give them pats on the back, right?
Sure.
And yet, in those situations, there would be warmth and genuine friendliness and authenticity, but the details would not be executed at nearly as high a level as they need to be to do anything of greatness. Balancing those two ideas, it is much more difficult. And yet, I believe that success comes not in spite of that tension, but because of that tension. I think you can draw it up in a more micro way to how you lead people, right? Because at the end of the day, it all boils up to how one leads, right? Hospitality is a team sport, like most things are. And the way in which you lead dictates the end result. I talk often about how the best organizations are those that develop a culture of feedback, of consistent feedback.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean not just one where it is well received, but one where it is genuinely sought out. And when I'm talking about feedback, obviously I'm talking about praise. If you're leading a team and you set high expectations and people meet or exceed those expectations, you better celebrate them.
Yes.
Because it's the right thing to do, but B, because the more praise you receive, the more you want to receive. It's a great way to affirm the right behavior. And yet at the same time, so many people are so focused on praise that they forget about the fueling power of criticism.
Yep.
Because of praise is affirmation, criticism is investment.
Your thing about consistent criticism, which I've listened to, that's really interesting because it's not criticizing when it's too late. It's the idea of criticizing often and regularly, but kind of taking the emotion out of it, like
being unemotional.
How do you? I mean, I think that's one of those things that's easy in theory, hard in practice.
Well, it's like anything. It's hard in practice until you build muscles around it.
Sure. Okay.
And by building muscles around it, I'm not only talking about the person delivering the criticism, but also those receiving it.
Any specific examples of that you could jump into?
I mean, I had a meeting. I'll give you an example of just the other day.
Sure.
And by the way, this is where you do need to develop some level of familiarity with the people that you lead. My approach to criticism is we're going to have a conversation. I'm not going to be emotional about it. I'm going to tell you where you went wrong. And the moment that conversation's over, it's behind us. Now let's get right back to it. But my role is to communicate to you what right looks like so that we can thrive together.
Yes.
We're working with this group, and they sent out a deck to a client which had my name and face all over it. And they sent it to the client without ever showing it to me.
Right.
And so we're getting on this Zoom. It's like 10 of us for this brainstorm. And at the very beginning, I said, hey, real quick, before we start, don't ever send a deck out with my name and likeness on it again without me seeing it first. And I said it like that, which perhaps for them, they weren't expecting the call to start out with a dose of criticism.
Was this with everyone on the call?
Yeah.
Why did you?
Because it was the collective on their side.
Because I thought your thing was like praise in public, criticize in private, or was it all?
It was that group.
So it was an internal.
It wasn't
with the client.
Yeah, no. It wasn't with the client.
Okay, sorry. I thought like in front of the client. I was thinking, fuck it out. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that'd be a textbook example of something to never, ever do.
Sorry, I was thinking, you're going off piece there.
No.
Okay, so it was in private with your team.
Hey, guys, don't ever do that.
Yes.
All right, now it's behind us. You understand? Yeah. Great. Now let's move on.
Yes.
Right, like here's the thing. I think people are so uncomfortable with expressing criticism that the other people never know they did anything wrong. They weren't trying to pull a fast one on me by sending the deck out. They just did what they did. And had I not sent anything, they would have done it again. And I would have been even more frustrated when they did it again. And then the third time they did it, I probably would have lost my cool.
Yeah.
And then responded emotionally. And emotion has no place in criticism because I'm not attacking you as a person. I'm just saying, hey, this thing you did, please don't do it again. And if we were more respectful and unemotional and consistent in communicating these things, I have 2 kids. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. This is what I'm trying to get them to do all the time. Hey, if your brother hits you, don't go off like the handle. Just say, hey, bud, I don't really like it when you hit me.
Yeah. But I think the point is what I'm finding, because I'm highly emotional and chaotic. So with my team with the podcast I need to do some serious gym training on this, mate.
Yes.
But because I'm also flying at like 100 miles an hour with just my brain of like ideas and stuff, is like I need to get almost more like kind of systems in place to be like, this is when we're now trying to do like a production call. But before, I'm like, why the fuck have you done that? And I got the feedback being like, mate, you need to just chill. Like, but I think it's an interesting one of just, so you almost saying like, you just take the emotion out of it from the jump and you do it, and it's getting into the habit of doing it often. Because I feel like, I know if something builds up, and I think it's a Tim Ferriss thing, you're the sum of you're the sum of uncomfortable conversations you have.
Yeah.
And I think so many as humans, we're people pleasers, you want to push it back. And that's when it goes into a volcano of emotion.
And a lot of people, by the way, this is human nature. You want your team to like you.
Yes.
You want to be the one. You don't want to be like the naggy person that's saying, hey, don't do this, don't do this. But the reality is they're going to like you a whole lot less if you're the person that when you finally do address something, you do it like a dick.
Yeah.
And so if you do it earlier, you are more emotionally set up for success to actually communicate like an adult.
Yes.
Now, to be clear, you better also be praising them. This is what I think a lot of driven people struggle with, and I'm the same way. Back in the day when I would walk into the dining room of one of my restaurants, my eye goes first to the things that are wrong. And if you only pause to focus on those things, you're not actually showing up for your team in the way they need you to, which is to say, hey, this thing, awesome, this thing, awesome, this thing, awesome. Because when we name the things that are going well, we also ensure that they're more likely to consistently go well.
Can you give praise to yourself? How do you have that muscle?
Yeah, I think you need to.
Interesting.
I think you need to, because the further up in the hierarchy you find yourself, there's fewer and fewer people above you whose job it is to give you praise. And we all need to feel like we've done a good job.
Yeah. Because I'm hopeless at that. And so like, and it's interesting. Do you know Tom Kerridge, the British chef? He does the Corinthia. He's like a big chef.
I know the name.
Yeah, big chef in the UK. And we were talking about this because we were recording. It was pretty jokes, actually. It was during. So I rocked up to the pod and I was like, "Where are we recording, bro?" And it was like the middle of breakfast service in the Corinthia 5-star hotel.
That's cool.
I was like, "Okay, this is I'm kind of a bit off piste here, but we'll figure it out."
Yeah.
But it was a really nice way. He kind of had the hum of the dining room, and just the chink and the conversation kind of erupting. It was beautiful. But he was like, I walk in here and I'm the only one who walks in. I noticed. He goes, "This is right now." So we're sat in the gorgeous dining room in central London. He's like, "That painting's off, that's off, that thing's off."
Yeah.
And we were sort of saying negative internal bias equals positive external results. So the more, if you're looking at things with a negative mindset, it's actually making your business better because you're constantly improving it. But I think the nuance is like, if you're just constantly negative, looking at the negative, and it might be getting things better, but you're kind of operating from not the happiest of places. Because it's that thing of like excellence leads
I'm
to.
bringing this up because I think there's a tie to excellence versus hospitality.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Yes, it makes your business better.
Yep.
But not as good as it could be if you do that and season all the things that are going well.
Wow.
Forget about me as a boss or a leader. I'm now going to look at the world through the lens of me 15, 20 years ago. I wanted to be great. I wanted to work for someone who would call me to a level of greatness I did not myself believe I was capable of. So I needed for the person I worked for to say, "Hey, you can be better here. You can be better." And yet I was working my ass off. I needed to be told when I was doing well. I needed to be celebrated for all the things that I was doing right.
Yeah.
And those that can only focus on the things that are wrong, they're going to fix a lot of stuff. But if they're not also celebrating the things that are going right, it's not going to be a fun place to work. And we deserve to have fun at work, no matter what level we're playing. And B, this I see happen more often than it should. There's organizations where they're doing a lot of stuff really well. But because no one ever celebrates the things they are doing well, they inadvertently stop doing them well. By celebrating the thing that is going well, you put intention to intuition. You make sure it's clear.
Yeah.
This is going well. Let's keep on doing this. At the same time, this is not going well. We need to fix this.
Yes. So on the hospitality side, so that's essentially praising. The tension is like almost the negative bias. Like how can we be better? How can we be better? The positive, the hospitality side, is like the generosity. Because what I think is amazing about your book and like what you're doing with the Welcome Conference, and this is what I talked with Rory Nosh about actually, because I basically say, publicans are actually just behavioural scientists who like a pint of Guinness. I mean, you're basically like, restaurants are a microcosm for humanity.
100%.
I really fucking believe that. And like, you're pouring a pint of Guinness, you're just watching and observing human behaviour. I think why it's interesting in London is we have the class system, right? So you have a lot of the pubs are egalitarian, you have the chairman and the binman.
Yes.
And I love that. So you really do get this microcosm of culture.
You can bear witness to all of life's experiences happening simultaneously within the same four walls.
Yes, exactly. But one of the things I was saying is some of the lessons you can apply from that to other categories. So one of the things Osh was saying was that when you go into a pub, people actually don't really care about if you have about being sat down. You just don't want to be stood up like this because you feel like a loser, just being no play, or you just feel painfully awkward.
Yes.
Whereas if you just lean, suddenly the whole dynamic changes. And obviously Rory was going crazy for that. And he's like, well, we could implement that in trains because the trains in the UK.
Dude, Rory just ran with that.
Yeah. I mean, he ended up talking about It kind of went very, it didn't even go off piece. It went to a different ski resort. But anyway, but what would you say some of the lessons on the excellence versus hospitality that you've applied to other categories or some of the work you've done outside of restaurants?
I mean, here's the thing. it's one of the central ideas of the book that I don't care what you're doing for a living. You can make the choice to be in the hospitality industry simply by being as relentless, as creative, as intentional, as unreasonable in pursuit of how you make people feel as you are whatever product you're selling. And so from 30,000 feet, it's all the same. Like we've just been talking for the past 10 minutes about praise and criticism. That's not specific to restaurants or hotels. It's transferable to a guy who runs a podcast and has a team that's running it with him.
Yeah, sure.
It has to do with literally every business. It's recognizing that how you invest in the celebration, the growth, the readiness of your team will extend and impact the people you're collectively trying to serve. Now, how hospitality as an idea has extended beyond restaurants. I mean, from my book, the things I've seen people do, it's just wild. I often redefine the word hospitality.
Yeah.
I think that's just an important thing to do with any idea you care about, because the better you are at articulating an idea, the better you become at compelling those around you to embrace it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite definitions is...
How's your definitions changed, say, 10 years ago?
Yeah, for sure. Like,
what would you say it was 10 years ago?
10, I mean, I don't know, 10 years ago, but like in the very beginning, hospitality is being nice to people.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
Which is vapid and doesn't actually mean anything. Now, perhaps my favorite definition is hospitality is being creative and intentional in pursuit of relationships.
Ooh, yeah.
And both of those words are essential.
Yeah.
Intention. I mean, you look at any good book about marriage. By the way, I believe relationships from life can impact those at work and vice versa.
Sure.
The greatest marriage advice I've ever heard is wake up every day and decide to pursue your wife. Like decide to be married to that person. Like don't take it for granted, lean in. Intention is crucial, right? Like you talk about losing it on your team in that meeting with a bit of intention, you'll stop, right? Like it just requires focusing on an idea.
What's your definition of intention?
Intention is pursuing a desired result.
Yeah.
Like it's just making the choice to do something. Like I can, say I want to get in better shape, or I can pursue that with intention, which means I'm going to start to work out on a regular basis. I'm going to be more cognizant of what I'm eating.
Yes.
By the way, I'm not great at either of those things. So intention, just deciding to do something.
Yeah.
Which anyone that's successful invariably is intentional in pursuit of creating the best product or service they can. They just reserve that intention for those things and don't direct it towards how they make people feel. But intention absent creativity will only take you so far. Because to do something new and significant is just not about trying to be good at it. It's about approaching it in a different way than it's been approached before. And so...
What would you say your definition of creativity is in a sentence?
Oof. I've never been asked that question before. Golly. It's hard to put exact words to something that I feel like I understand intuitively. I mean, being creative... I'll talk... it's easier for me to explain how I approach creativity.
Yeah.
I approach creativity by trying to dream up a world that I wish existed so that one day I can invite people into my imagination.
Say that again. You dream up a world
that I wish existed.
Yes.
So that one day I can invite people into my imagination.
Yes. That's sick.
And I think that's an important distinction, because I think there are people that are very creative, but they're more thinking about, what do I think other people want? I've always just been good about creating the thing that I want.
Yeah.
And then inviting people in and hoping that other people like what is going on in my head as much as
it's interesting. So I asked that question to Sir John Hegarty, who did BBH. So he's a big London advertising agency. I think they've got some in New York. And his famous campaign, he's like 82, but it was mad. Like I did the interview in Soho, And he's like, mate, we didn't say mate. He was like, I've got a Zoom call like at 5 p.m. I was like, mate, you're 82 years old, but he's like he's just hammering it, man. Like, and I think and I believe this, like he doesn't, you know, he works to live, like is kind of, it gives him energy and fulfillment. And he was the guy who did the famous Levi's campaign. So Levi's back in the day was a bit of a dead brand, a bit of a bland brand. And Marvin Gaye's career was tanking. They did this advert, I'll send it to you afterwards, and it was the first advert that used that song, and it was a guy who went into a laundrette and kind of got his kit off. But at the time in the 60s, this was kind of so taboo. And Marvin Gaye's career got massive, and he's on so many brands, but that was like his iconic.
The two things helped one another.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And actually, like, boxer shorts weren't cool then, but he had boxer shorts on, and it kind of he's got an amazing book called He's got a book on creativity and a book called On Advertising. Highly recommend. But his thing, to your point, Will, of like creating your imagination and allowing people in, or your dream world, your utopia, I love that. But to kind of bounce or kind of meld onto that, his whole thing is creativity is a definition of self, an expression of self. And I really believe that, because it's like what you're saying, mate, about so many people create stuff for other people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that you've lost, that's when you've lost, personally, I feel.
Now with hospitality, it gets a bit, and we're getting heady now, but
yeah, heady's good.
It gets a little more complicated, because I can't love you only in the way that I want to be loved. There's a book called Love Languages. Like,
is that like, I haven't read it.
Where different people have different love languages.
Oh, like gifts of service.
Exactly.
Like that.
If I like gifts of service and you just like stuff, and I'm giving you a bunch of service, and you're like, I don't feel loved.
Where's my iPad?
But what it does mean for me when it comes to hospitality is I just want to feel seen. So that I can work harder to see you, care enough about what I hear or see, and then to do something with that knowledge, to actually deliver something that makes you feel whole. All right, so let's go way back.
Yeah, cool.
To your question, an example in a different industry. This is one of my favorites. There's a UPS store owner. He has 2 UPS stores in Florida.
That's like delivery just for people in the UK.
Yeah. It's where you go.
We have it in the UK. Actually.
It's where you go to like print something or ship something.
Yeah.
No one would describe the UPS store experience as the pinnacle of hospitality. It's very transactional, oftentimes rude. But this guy, and it's a franchise model, so this guy owns 2 of these stores. He read my book, and he wanted to figure out how to transfer the energy of the book into an unlikely environment. Okay, that's intention. He's like, I want to create a culture of hospitality. Now, I have like a business where I'm serving people something that there's no emotion in. I have them in front of me for maybe 2 minutes. I need to be creative. This is what he came up with. He started a thing, and Pret actually did something like this a while ago, but I think it was
Pret-a-Manger, the Sarnie place. Yeah.
He required that everyone in his store that worked the register had to comp one person a day.
Yeah.
Just one person.
Yeah.
Up to like $30 in value. That one simple change transformed the culture of those businesses. First, for the customer. Okay, if you walk in and you're like going to ship something, return an order, print something, the guy's like, hey bud, today it's with my compliments. You're gonna be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
Talk about like going above and beyond, giving people more than they expect. That is definitively a place you're going in with low expectations. It'll blow your mind. You'd tell people about it. Second, it changed the experience of the people that worked there. Because I don't think you can do anything truly great if you feel no appreciation or validation for the work and the investment.
Yeah.
And a UPS store is not one where the people working there are used to being on the receiving end of genuine praise and appreciation. And yet, your reaction, if they just gave you free printing at a place you never expected it to happen, you'd be like, oh my God, thank you so much. It's really cool of you. Thank you. Which led to the third win, which is the most surprising and also most obvious of all. every customer that walked into the store, their experience got markedly better because, well, the people that worked there in the beginning, they had to comp one person. After they realized how good it felt when they did, they only got to do it once, which meant they had to more deeply get to know everyone that walked in the store to decide who deserved it the most. Wow. Was it someone that was having a great day that needed a little cherry on top? Was it someone having a really hard day that just needed something to go right? All from one simple, relatively inexpensive system that was installed to elevate the culture of hospitality. I've seen stuff like this happen in so many creative ways across so many different industries, and it affirms for me two things. One, it's possible anywhere, just looks a little different, but it's rooted in the same ideas. And two, those that do it consistently well, it's the greatest competitive advantage any business can have. I see this all the time. So many businesses, they're trying, anyone who's good.
Yeah, any other examples on that sort of thread of...
On like unlikely places?
Just unlikely, because I think the other thing is, the other thing I love from your work is it's kind of, when you say look for friction, because friction equals, this is what I wrote down, friction equals excitement, or sorry, friction equals an opportunity to improve, which equals excitement. So whether it's UPS, it's just give someone one free person. It's like, that's downstream, the benefits of that, as you just detail, Will, a multitude, right? But I'd love to know any other examples of categories where there's been kind of obvious but non-obvious friction that once you find, it creates this spark of magic. It kind of just...
I mean, this is a lovely one. This happened. This was not inspired by my book, I don't believe. I just was on the receiving end of it.
Yeah.
I got on a plane. We pulled out from the gate, and then we're like, I don't know, 50 yards from the gate. And the captain comes over the intercom and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry. There's an issue with the plane. We're going to be delayed here for a little bit while they figure it out. Those are the worst delays. Everyone's experienced them. And they're the worst for two reasons. One, because now you can't even get up to go get a coffee anymore. You're stuck in your seat. Two, because there's always that dude, like 3 rows back, that lets that groan of exasperation. The vibes on the plane start spiraling downwards. This time, though, something different happened. The pilot came out from the cockpit. There were 3 families on the plane, parents with children. He goes up to the first one. He goes, hey, do you guys want a tour of the cockpit? Suddenly, anyone sitting around that family, looking at how excited these kids were, the vibe started going in the other direction. The morale of the plane started, gives the second family a tour, gives the third family a tour. We're still delayed. Now he just says really loudly on the aisle of the plane, do any adults want a tour of the cockpit?
Yeah.
Adults started going on a tour. Eventually we took off. I'm a student of this stuff. So I said to the flight attendant, hey, what was that? She goes, he's the best.
Yeah.
Every time we're delayed on the tarmac, he just starts giving people tours of the cockpit. He took a moment that is objectively painful. It's not a fun part of the experience. In fact, it normally ruins the entire experience. And he turned it into something that honestly, it was so remarkable to see him change the channel on that plane that I would invite another 15-minute delay just to see it again.
Yeah.
I think Chewy does this remarkably well. Do you know what Chewy is?
What's Chewy?
Chewy is the online pet supply company.
Yep.
If you have a dog, you go into chewy.com, you set up a dog food subscription. At the beginning of every month, dog food arrives. You never forget to buy dog food. I'm a pretty OCD person. I like everything to be just so. I'm not a dog person. And then I got married and realized I was actually a dog person.
Did it affect the OCD or that?
Well, now we got a dog. Her name is Butter. She's like this 80-pound Swiss mountain dog.
Yeah, amazing.
And now I am genuinely a dog. I love this dog so much that it kind of breaks my heart.
Right.
When I realize or remember from time to time that I'm going to lose her far earlier than I'm ready.
Yeah.
And when I do, I guarantee the first thing I will think to do is not to go on Chewy and cancel my dog food order. Which means a couple of weeks later, a new bag of dog food's going to come, rip open the scab all over again. Then I'm going to call Chewy to cancel my order. This is something that happens at Chewy. This is how they respond every single time. When you do, They obviously apologize for your loss. They cancel your subscription. They can't take that last bag back for health code reasons, but they credit it to your account. And then 2 days later, a bouquet of flowers arrives at your house saying, we're so sorry for your loss. Here's the thing about dog people. After some season of mourning, they're very likely to get another dog. And if you ever buy dog food from anyone else ever again after they've done that from you, you're a frickin' serial killer.
Yeah.
So there's these examples everywhere of people who are. There's a magician duo in America. It's called Penn and Teller. Teller has a quote I love. He says, "Sometimes magic is just being willing to invest more energy into an idea than anyone else would deem reasonable." I haven't told you a single story that is very hard. They all just require trying a little bit harder, investing a little more money, perhaps, a bit more time, some additional resource. But in each case, I guarantee you that, while hard to calculate, the return on that investment is significant.
It's like, and that's why the principle from the book, which I love, it's kind of spot the friction, and when you are open to it, and I'm kind of into, like, I meditate and stuff, believe it or not, but like when you're open to when you're open to these things, you start to notice it. But it's like, look for the friction. Where there's friction, there's opportunity. Where there's opportunity, there's excitement, and that's when there's just unfair advantage, or just results that are just unattainable. And like, I said I went to that Lost Paddy. I was a Lost Popey, like going around looking to watch the rugby, right?
Yeah.
And as I met these English blokes, early doors, getting a load of Guinnesses down us, and we jump in a cab. And why I love cabs in America, or taxis in America, is the hospitality here. And it's what I've noticed first to the UK. In London, you've got like amazing restaurants, but the hospitality is a thing here more, or service and sales is a thing here. Whereas in the UK, if you say you're a salesperson, it's like, oh, you've got to give me the ick. Whereas here, it's encouraged. Right? It's really interesting. So we get in, the guy's just like, he's got loads of lollipops there. And he goes, what?
In the cab?
Yeah, in the cab, just a whole thing of lollipops. He goes, and he just turns a light on, and it's like flicking around like that. And he goes, oh, what song do you want? And it's like, that is just it. But one, it's better customer service for us in the cab. Two, I feel like, as you say, hospitality is a selfish act, which I love. He's feeling better about himself.
Dude.
It's just like, and it takes a few things, man. And it's just like, oh, it's wild. How's having a dog changed or made you better as a restaurateur, or
I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually had restaurants since I had the dog, but
maybe it's made you much better.
No, I will say this. I took a Mahayana Buddhism class in college. Mahayana Buddhism class.
What's the difference?
Mahayana Buddhism, it's, and this was a very, very long time ago, but I don't think dissimilar to any form of Buddhism, like not having an attachment to things, right? When I got my dog, we had this little stone house in the Hudson Valley that was from the late 1700s, and it was in immaculate condition.
When did you get the dog?
In 2019.
Okay.
Big wood plank floors, like perfect. Within like a month and a half of having this dog, those floors were ripped to shit. And listen, you don't get 3 Michelin stars or all that stuff without being a perfectionist. And yet, if I were to talk about like the tension in who I am as a leader, it's then in one sense I can be controlling. If I don't regulate that part of me, I like everything to be just so. I believe in perfection, in details, and I can be overly controlling if I'm not careful. On the flip side, I genuinely believe and am passionate about empowering the people on my team, recognizing that everyone will give much more of themselves if they feel a genuine sense of empowerment and an ability to impact where we're going.
That's like another tension, right?
Those are not friends.
Okay.
And so I'm constantly falling off the line that divides them in one direction or another. My dog, I love this dog so much that I cared less about these ruined floors than an old version of me would have. Here's the deal. Like, you cannot be only a perfectionist if you want to be in the world of hospitality, because hospitality is about human beings, and the best of us are perfectly imperfect. And the dog, in all of her beauty, has ruined a lot of stuff in my life, and it's actually made me better at embracing a little bit of mess, because relationships are messy and we need to embrace those things.
When you
more.
said regulate your control freakishness, if that's all right to say.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Just with intention.
Yeah. So just sort of saying like, listen, like it's interesting.
Well, and by the way, and when you do take it too far, apologizing.
Do you, so with 11 Madison Park and that amazing journey to the top, could you have any flex for messiness there? Or how did you, because as you said, humans are perfectly imperfect. Totally agree.
Well, so let me.
Like, yeah, how would you navigate that tension in that setting?
It's a balance.
Yeah.
So there's the quote by Maya Angelou.
Yep.
Most people have heard it. My favorite when it comes to hospitality: people will forget what you say, they will forget what you do, but they will never forget how you made them feel. When I talk to people who have dined at 11 Madison Park back in the day, they often don't remember a single thing they ate. And they often don't remember a single detail of our perfectly executed service. What they remember are these little and big things that the team did around Unreasonable Hospitality, little additional gestures, things that were possible because the team got to know them and said, oh, this would be cool for this individual. Here's the reality. I could make sure that every detail of the dining room is perfect. The team in the kitchen could work really hard to make sure that the food was as close to perfect as possible. We could make sure that the service was as close to technically perfect. All that stuff. We could be very controlling over that stuff. And yet, it's clear that I need to empower the people on my team to come up with those additional gestures. They're on the front line. They're the ones that actually know the people they're serving. I can't control that. So I'm relinquishing control around the one thing that people will remember the most. And yet, if that's not done on a foundation of excellence, then it wouldn't have been a 3 Michelin star restaurant, and we wouldn't have gone on to do what we did next. It's balance. It's controlling the things that should be controlled and recognizing the areas where you need to let go. Because if you never let go, the team doesn't feel agency. And if they don't feel a genuine sense of ownership, they won't be their best, and the guest is not going to receive their best.
It's so interesting. I really do feel like you are like the Walt Disney of hospitality. I love what you said. Your quote about this is my kind of greatest world view.
Yeah.
How do I get people into my imagination? And I think anyone in the creative spheres is a wonderful way to think. I love if you could detail the example of the cognac bottle and the bill.
Yeah.
Or the check.
Yeah.
I think that's a really delicious example of that. And then we can apply some of that magic. Because I know we've talked about sort of friction and like the UPS stuff, but actually creating genuine magic from like restaurants, so cognac example, and then other industries.
Yeah. I mean, I would say though, like a kid getting a tour of the cockpit is magical.
Yes. Yeah.
Getting flowers from an e-commerce site is magical. These things are magic in my eyes. The cognac was, listen, I think a lot of people, when they try to enhance an experience, they do it not nearly as well as they could. Because they've never slowed down for long enough to genuinely understand all the little touch points that exist in an experience.
Yeah, sorry.
Most organizations don't actually know what every touch point is because they've never slowed down for long enough to genuinely understand the experience they serve.
Okay, so that's why that's a really interesting thing. So that's where you could apply this to a lot of industries, because everyone's running at 1,000 miles per hour and they're actually not slowing down to extrapolate like what are these touch points.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you work in an office building and clients come to your office, I guarantee you've never said, hey, what is the experience of being in the elevator like?
Yes.
And what could we do to make that experience cooler?
Yeah.
What's the experience of going to the bathroom when you're up here? What's the waiting room experience? I mean, most people don't invest any creativity into those things where they can make a difference. And in fact, sometimes the smallest enhancement to the most overlooked touch point in an experience can have the greatest impact on the experience as a whole. The cognac is, listen, there's millions of restaurants out there. At the end of every meal, someone is bringing you a bill. And yet, in spite of the fact that every restaurant has that touch point in common, I've almost never seen it approached with any creativity or any intention. Which, when you really slow down for long enough to think about it, is insane. Now, I think that's in part due to the fact that we have this flawed belief system that transactional moments cannot also be connective, or due to the fact that it's actually a hard moment in a restaurant to get right from a timing perspective.
Yep.
Everyone has this in common, whether or not they realize it. People are very impatient at the end of the meal. If it takes us too long to bring you the bill, we've just ruined the meal. At the same time, I can't drop it on your table before you've asked for it. Otherwise, what do you think I'm trying to do?
Yeah, get the fuck out of it.
Rush you out of the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's especially hard in a fine dining restaurant.
Yeah.
Because let's name it, it's a big bill. And the moment you realize how much the meal cost, it's a little bit harder to still love the meal you've just had.
Yeah.
For those reasons, no creativity. But once we'd identified it as an opportunity to make things more awesome, this is what we came up with. If you were dining, you and a friend, and you were done, you hadn't asked the check yet, but you know when people are done. I'd go over to your table with a glass for each one of you and a bottle of cognac, and I'd pour just a splash of cognac into each glass, and I'd say, hey, thank you for joining us. This is with my compliments. In fact, I'm going to leave the entire bottle here on the table. Please help yourselves to as much as you'd like, and then I'd put the check down. And so your check is here, ready whenever you are. Small change, profound impact.
That's so good.
First, no one ever had to wait for their check again.
Yeah.
B, no one could ever think we were trying to rush them out when we gave them an entire bottle of free booze.
And also, you've got to be a bit of a knob if you're drinking the whole bottle. There's a social norms thing there.
Once every few weeks that would happen, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It didn't cost us very much, though, because very rarely if did that happen. Mostly, they'd just drink that first splash. But at the same time, when we brought over that big bill, we matched it with a gesture of profound generosity. Also, at the end of a meal where we had served their every need with unbelievable attentiveness, we gave them the gift of serving one another. And I don't know about you, but like pouring a drink for a friend is like the small, beautiful thing that I think restores the idea of what we were trying to create there.
Yes.
I've talked to people who dined with us then. They don't remember a single thing they ate, but they'll never forget how we made them feel when we brought them that bottle of cognac. These examples or these opportunities exist in so many places. The cab.
Yes.
Giving you a lollipop.
So, yeah. So creative, again, this is not trying to get too heady here, but it could do. But do you think do creative ideas come to you, or do you go to them? Or like, where does your creativity come from?
I go to them. My approach to creativity.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, at least it's not for me, that creativity is something that like strikes you like a bolt of lightning.
Yeah, because have you read Rick Rubin's work?
I have.
You know, like his book, The Creative Being.
Yeah.
Because he talks about it's interesting. So, his thing of like this energy of all times that you kind of, it'd be like the radio, like zing, zing, and tune into. Yeah, it's interesting. So you're not, that's not your...
That's not my, I mean, like sometimes...
That's beautiful, because I think a lot of people, I think the other thing with your work, Will, sorry to interrupt, just is it shows that I think a lot of people who's like, I'm not creative, it's because they think it's this weird fucking alien force. And so if you're saying it's not that, that's beautiful.
Well, dude, and also, and this came from, we were talking about Seth Godin before.
Yeah.
I think I listened to a podcast he did. But what was the movie about the Beatles?
Get Back.
Get Back.
Oh, bro, so good.
Get Back
Yeah.
proves everything I'm about to say.
Yes.
So I'll circle back to that in a moment. My approach to creativity. Okay, let's take the check. Intention. Let's make the check more awesome. Mm-hmm. Let's make that something cool.
Yeah.
Let's not make it an annoying, overlooked part of the experience. Let's make it like one of the most incredible parts of the experience. My approach to creativity also sits in collaboration. So I would just say, all right, and I would think about who do I want around me in this meeting? Great. On Wednesday at 3 p.m., we're going to spend 90 minutes being creative about how to drop the check. I schedule creativity.
Wow. So it's the intention of
But it's not any different than anyone in marketing. Like,
well, it's interesting. So the other documentary you should watch is the antagonist to that. So the Beatles get back to a documentary. Why I love that is we're in at 9. We'll have a couple of cups of tea and some. And
by
some
the
toast.
time we're done, we're gonna have written one of the great albums.
The other one is there's a really good one about Rolling Stones, which is it's almost this. They would sit around, basically just take drugs, drink, and smoke all day, and that's what I do believe. Creativity needs a deadline.
Yeah.
And it would get to like 4 p.m. I'm like, all right, we need to create a song now, and then bang,
Yes.
So but I again, and that's why I love all this stuff, man. There's no
But
one
is it
size.
actually an antagonist? They were just deciding to have fun all day, but at 4 p.m. they're like, let's write a song.
True, yeah.
Like, I just think that why I feel strongly about like structured creative time. And by the way, that doesn't mean like you're going to have the best idea in those 90 minutes, but now it's going to like stoke your creative fires, and it might be in the shower the next morning. You're like, there it is. I got it now. But I love creativity and collaboration. I'm not someone that does my best thinking alone. I like having people that I love and trust and support around me. And I do hate when people say I'm just not that creative. I think it's BS. I think we're all creative, but it is a practice. It's like any muscle that needs to be strengthened. It's another Maya Angelou quote. The more creative you are, the more creative you become. Like, you just need to start doing it in order to get good at it.
Who are some of the most creative people you've met?
Oh, man. I mean, across industry, I've met so many different creative people in so many different ways. Like, there's a guy named Jesse Darris. Jesse Darris is a brand marketing guy in New York. His firm was called Darris for a long time, and he was acquired, and now he's running a much bigger company. But Jesse was kind of at the heart of the direct-to-consumer movement here in the States. So, like, if you think back to like Harry's and Everlane and Reformation and Hims, and Jesse is like
the guy
that was involved with all of these things.
Sweet, yeah.
And if I ever have a creative problem that I need to solve and I need a different thought partner than the people that I work with on a daily basis, Jesse is one of those guys that I call. He just has this ability to see things in just through a lens that other people
Any like
to.
specific examples on that?
I mean, like, he's the person that reframes. Like, he and his wife started a tampon company called Lola. Like, he's the guy that's like, wait a minute, everything we do now is organic, and this and that and the other thing, and tampons haven't changed. Like, these insights, that's like such a random one that I just brought up, but he is able to see, he has an understanding of human behavior that I've not seen in very many people.
How so?
I don't know, man. Do you know the people that it's just like it comes more naturally and easily to them? Like, that's an insight that's actually quite obvious. He just sees it.
Yeah, I love people who can spot the obvious, the non-obvious, obvious kind of stuff.
And by the way, and then when they spot it, it feels so relentlessly obvious.
Yeah, well, that's basically what I think Rory does so well.
Rory's brilliant.
He's like literally just like, that is just so obvious.
By the way, Rory is another one. I mean, plenty of my friends who are musicians.
Yeah.
I love great musicians.
Yeah, I was going to say, what you to, because it's been really interesting meeting these British lads, Nate and Ali, who, I mean, Nate's a very American name, but it's kind of weird, like, you know, when you're a foreigner in a different country and you meet some of your fellow folk, you just kind of have this weird bond, and that's why I fucking...
For sure.
So it's like, he's like, bro, like, let's go down to Charlotte. Like, not this, I've got to go back on, but really interesting guys, and they were talking all about the different cultures of Nashville, and I feel like it's interesting, a lot of people, and again, I probably had this belief, is that you're in New York and you think you're in America, but actually New York and London, what they were saying is New York and London are really similar, but New York's probably closer to London than New York is to Nashville. And when I basically came, I don't know, that was their opinion.
I can see that.
And in terms of the music stuff, like what brought you down here?
I mean, we moved to Nashville. We moved up to the country when COVID hit for a few weeks. A few weeks turned into a few years.
Right.
And eventually we were like, we're too young to like, call it quits on the world. Like and so we moved back to our apartment in the city. But in those 3 years, we had 2 kids and got a big dog. And I was back in the city for 5 months, and I travel a lot, which means when I'm home with kids, I just want to be home. And if that's the case, you just shouldn't live in New York.
Yeah.
Having kids there is already hard. And if you're home so little that you don't even want to go out and experience the city, it's a level of difficulty that's not, there's no return on it.
Yeah.
So we decided to move, and we looked at a bunch of different places. I chose Nashville for a few different reasons. One, and perhaps most importantly, we didn't have family that lived in New York with us, and I wanted family around us. I didn't want to move where any of our family lived, but I figured I could convince a lot of them to move to Nashville. So my mother-in-law lives 2 blocks away from us. My sister-in-law lives on the other side of town. Our cousin moved to Nashville to be our nanny. One of my best friends moved down here. So we moved a whole compound of people to Nashville with us.
Yeah.
2, I already had friends here, either in restaurants or music. And there's this entrepreneurial spirit here that is pretty awesome. Nashville, I've been surprised. I've met more people that I want to spend time with than I have time to spend.
Wow.
But the other thing is, we're in a wild time, and Nashville is a blue city in a red state.
This is what they were saying to me yesterday.
And I really like that. Because,
what do you like about that?
Well, I've just found that there's too many places, and I think it's kind of, you tell me, it feels like it's happening everywhere around the world, although particularly so here in the States.
Yeah.
Where, depending on where you live, if in New York, if you're a little bit conservative, you're terrible. In Florida, if you're a little bit liberal, you're terrible, right? Like, it's harder and harder, depending on where you live, to develop your own unique perspective on the world.
This was wild. So sorry to interrupt. Met a girl in Soho House last night, and she was from LA. She moved here about 5 years ago, and we were playing beer pong with her friend, who's like, in fact, her parents owned the group that owned Catch.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. I kind of forgotten what it was called. But she was like, afterwards, I was speaking to the girl from LA, and she was like, "Yeah, we're really good friends, but we don't talk about politics." And I kind of found that, as a British person, found that kind of crazy. She's like, "We're really cool, like good friends. We're like best friends here, but it's just kind of that thing that we don't talk about." And I was like, that's fucking wild, man. Like, do you know what I mean?
That is a thing increasingly where people are just like, I just don't want to talk about it because...
Interesting.
But what I was about to say about here is actually different. Yeah. Which is, A, to your point, like, it's just people who believe in different things still able to spend time with one another and be friends with each other. But also, I've just found that, like, you're actually allowed to disagree with people around you, and you can have those conversations. And absent conversation, I don't know what we're doing. Like, I think actually having open discourse about these fundamental things is a part of what it means to live in a democracy, and we're losing it in too many places. And I wanted my kids to grow up in a place where they could actually explore openly what they believe in.
Yeah. So you're buying that Dino's place. You're not. Yeah. So that's like East Nashville. Is that kind of like the Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we're kind of comparing apples to Ferraris here or whatever. But like, as in, not. I appreciate
East Nashville is like the more hipster area.
Yeah. And how do you spend your time here, say, versus New York? Like without outside of work, or
I mean, the distinction is in New York, I was single or married. Here, I'm a dad.
Okay.
So it's hard to you talk about apples and Ferraris. That's actually a very good example of apples and Ferraris.
Yeah.
My priorities have just changed. My life was able to be pretty selfish for a long time. Not overwhelmingly so, but in the past, I had to be a good leader at work, a good son, and a good friend, and then a good husband for the last couple of years when I finally got married. Now I still need to do all those things, but I also need to be a good dad, which is something I want really badly to do extraordinarily well. And what you lose when you add the dad thing is the ability, or you just have less margin just to have fun for yourself. Now, I like to have fun, and so I find pockets of time to do it. But it's interesting how you're talking about intention. Being a parent is so fun and so hard, because for me, it's the job that I want to excel at, perhaps more than I've ever wanted to excel at any job. And yet I have it on top of 2 other full-time jobs, which is a real job and also being a good husband, which means it's just a math problem. I have less hours to invest to excel at something that is so deeply important to me.
What are the hard challenges you went through that you'd want your kids to go through?
Well, I mean, the hardest challenge I went through, I pray my kids don't go through, which is my mom was a quadriplegic.
What does that mean? So I've read it, so
no.
Again, sorry for sounding really stupid here, but
I don't think it's an expression of stupidity at all.
Okay.
It means you can't move your arms or your legs. It means you can't move effectively.
Right.
She could hardly talk either.
But could she move her head?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So she has wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so any other dose of adversity I experienced, I don't even remember. It was irrelevant in comparison. I will say, though, one of my dad's quotes is, adversity is a terrible thing to waste. My dad and I are so close. And that is in a large part due to her condition, right? We needed to be. We were a team. We needed to be close. And I wonder what our relationship would be had she never gotten sick. Now, obviously, if I could go back in time, I wish she had never gotten sick and she was still alive today. But that most definitively was a big part of me becoming who I am. Learning to care for her at such an early age, watching my dad care for her, understanding what love actually looks like. Not just his love for her. Most people would have put her in some assisted living facility. But my dad worked restaurant hours, took care of her, was a good dad to me. But also watching how she, absent most of the faculties available to you and I, was still able to make me feel so loved.
How?
Through eye contact, the power of a smile. Like, there's so much we can transmit to others energetically that because we don't have to tap into them, we don't use them to their most full.
This may be a very tenuous link or a wrong link, but like, would you say from your mum's inability to move but still express herself, still have connection, has that given you kind of almost like a different, almost like a sixth sense to what people are feeling on body language without, or not even body language? You've got this, like, again, this is kind of heady stuff, but like this ability to feel what people are feeling without them actually having to say anything.
I think so.
Interesting.
I mean, I do believe that is something that comes naturally to me. And so I'm not sure if that came from that, but I have to imagine that contributed to it.
And so when you walk into a dining room, like, how do you pick up people's energies and vibes? Because again, I think walking to a dining room, a boardroom, like any difficult conversation or any interaction, man, like, what have you learned about that? Anything specific?
Well, I mean, gosh, I think if you actually just slow down, I talk about being present a lot. But when I say being present, what I mean is caring so much about the one person in front of you that you stop caring about everything else you need to do. Which is very hard for people these days with the distractions of cell phones or with a culture that seems to celebrate efficiency and doing as many things as possible. Now, in a dining room, that happens one person at a time. I can get a sense of the dining room just by closing my eyes and listening to the din of the room, whether service is going well or not.
What do you mean by the din?
Like the noise.
Oh, wow.
But
so how would you be? Again, so that's like shut your eyes.
I don't know if I can articulate it.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you can feel based on like the consistent level of conversation and music and.
So I interviewed Jeremy King from the Wolsey and the Ivy last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's interesting. I was asking him about and he said it's the hum of the dining room.
Yeah, the hum.
And he said he was telling a wonderful story about these. I think these guys who would go in and is it like in Battlefield essentially, and they'd go in nowhere. Their job was to go and find where the bombs could be hidden, and a lot of the times they'd just go and it'd be like it's just there, and there was no
intuitively understood.
Everyone was trying to put a theory behind it, and he was like, I was like, from Battlefield to dining room, like and he goes, I just can feel it, and it's like sometimes it's the way Messi gets a football. Like it's just some people have that innate thing.
Yeah,
it's so interesting.
But that's the room as a whole. Like, how do you tap into where an individual is at? I mean, you can if you just look around a room, if you study someone even without talking to them, you can pick up on so much. That first date where the guy is clearly uncomfortable and has run out of stuff to say, and it's either because he's realized he doesn't want to be on that date or because he's so excited to be on that date and is so nervous that all right, so what does hospitality look like there? Go over to the table. Mm-hmm. Like, get the conversation going a little bit.
So how would you do that? What would you...
Just walk over and be like, hey, my name's Will. Welcome to the restaurant. How's it going? Mm. And then, hey, what's your story? Is this your first time? Just like... whatever, just getting a conversation going.
What about if there was like a really intense sort of business meeting?
Then knowing to stay away. Wow. Like, so often, this is where I think a lot of people mess it up. They have the best of intentions, and yet their hospitality happens to people, not for them.
Wait, say that again. Hospitality
happens to people, not for them. And
Fuck,
so like
that's so good, man. Yeah, so go, yeah,
so that's like, if you're in the restaurant,
yeah,
we've only known each other for so long.
Yeah.
My instinct is you're going to want to know a lot about each course and each wine. You're a relentlessly curious person. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I send over the sommelier who is really passionate to be like, all right, dude, this wine was grown by the third generation winemaker who like has an ingrown toenail and whatever.
Yeah.
For some, that's like great hospitality. They're curious. They want to know everything. For the guys in a business meeting, don't go over and give them all the information. They're not there for it. They're there to have a business meeting, and they just want it in a beautiful room that serves delicious food. And they want you to be friendly and attentive and then get out of the way. Similarly, a first date that is not going well, okay, get in there, help get it back on track. On the flip side, a couple that's clearly having a fight, give them space. Don't make the woman like wipe her tears off to not be embarrassed when you come over to give them a bunch of stuff they don't need to hear about. Like, it's about reading an individual and allowing them to feel seen, and feeling seen is them knowing where you're at such that they can meet you there.
Knowing where you're at. Okay, so go on. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, I mean, it's what I'm saying. Like, if
the meet you at bit.
Metaphorically, right. Like meeting someone at a business meeting is shutting up, like just getting out of their way.
Yeah,
and this applies to so many different business. I mean, I go to a hotel. There are times when I want like the enthusiastic greeting, the rundown, the understanding of when the gym is open. And there's the times I get to a hotel at 1 a.m. and I'm clearly just exhausted. And I'd love for them to just give me my room key and say goodnight. Same person, 2 different times, different needs, different wants.
So it's is it Richard Corain, the one size fits one?
Yes.
I think that's basically what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
What I loved, I listened to it somewhere. It's like one size fits one size fits some, size fits many.
Size fits all.
So sorry, size fits all. Detail that, because I think that's applicable. Because again, if you're, to your point, is if you're going to everyone and giving them, there's only so much energy for unreasonable hospitality for one person. Like how, I think it's a really nice triangle almost, or pyramid.
It's a hierarchy.
Hierarchy of how that works. So I think
well,
that's
one size fits all we talked about with the Czech and the cognac.
Yes.
It's about elevating a touch point that goes into every single person's experience such that you take the ordinary and make it extraordinary, the transactional and make it connective. One size fits one are the crazy little things that we did for individuals. Sleds for a family that had never seen snow, stuffed animals for someone who forgot to buy one for their daughter, the hot dog story, all these different things that we would do, the dream weaving, where I was serving you, I heard you say something, I came up with an idea, delivered it back to you, and it was truly singular. One size fits some happens through, again, creativity and intention, but through an exercise that I call pattern recognition of recurring moments. The bottom line is every business has these recurring moments. The things that happen not always for everyone, but sometimes for some people, as often as once a day or as rarely as once every few weeks. And if you can identify these moments in advance, decide in advance, what is the most awesome way to respond every time that thing happens? And then invest whatever time, energy, money is required to develop the assets needed for those reactions. You can start making magic all the time. The flowers from Chewy is an example of this. That's one size fits some.
Yeah.
They developed an idea for every time this one thing happened. And they do it over and over and over again. Does it mean it's less special for the person that receives flowers because someone else got flowers as well? No, it's specific to their circumstance.
So it's systemizing magic, essentially.
It's systemizing graciousness.
Interesting.
Like the example that I love to talk about from my restaurant was that people would get engaged with us often, like once a week. And anyone who's ever gotten engaged at a good restaurant, they poured you free champagne. If you got engaged at a restaurant and they didn't pour you free champagne, you might not have picked the right place. Right? It's like the biggest question of your life. They owe you free champagne.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's reasonable hospitality. We identified that as an opportunity to be unreasonable. This is what we came up with. We forged a partnership with Tiffany & Co. They gave us 100 boxes, those Tiffany blue boxes, each with 2 champagne flutes in them. We put them in the back. Next time someone got engaged, we poured them free champagne like we always would have. Wow. But they wouldn't notice that their glasses looked just a little bit different from everyone else's. And when they were done with the champagne, we'd take the glasses away, wash them, dry them, put them back in the box, and then gift them the box at the end of their meal, thanking them, celebrating them. Was it less special for them because we had a bunch more boxes of champagne flutes in the back? No. In fact, I've talked to people who got engaged there, don't remember a single thing they ate. But they will never forget how we made them feel when we brought them those glasses.
Just hope someone doesn't get divorced and goes back there.
No, but like this stuff, and by the way, the thing about those programs is 2 years later you change it.
Yes.
You don't do the same thing forever.
What's the, because that's, when you said you based your restaurant on Miles Davis, or is it Davis? Whatever.
Miles Davis.
Davis. So was he like a
significant jazz musician?
Significant jazz music. Like, so what's the why? And because I do like this as a concept of having a person or thing to build.
I mean, that was almost accidental in the beginning. It came. I believe that language defines culture.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to find the words to fully articulate what you're trying to accomplish. In fact, I think sometimes people spend too much time trying to find the perfect words and not enough time just pursuing them. And at the very beginning, we got a review in a newspaper, and they said, I just wish the restaurant had a bit more Miles Davis. And I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
I was frustrated by it. Like, what is that? and we started studying it. And the more we learned about not his music, but the approach he took to the music, the more we resonated with that as the approach we wanted to take in building the restaurant. And there were words like fresh, innovative, collaborative, cool,
Yeah.
endless reinvention. And I believe with like, if you look at something and it makes you feel a certain way, just run with it, run towards it. We wanted to make 4-star restaurants cool in New York City. To that point, they weren't. They were a little bit more stodgy. We wanted to build a truly collaborative environment where we were balancing the authority of the top and the information of the front line to actually do innovative things.
Oh yeah, what's the quote I love, which is like everyone at the
David Marquet.
it's like everyone at the top doesn't have has all the information, has all the authority, none of the information. People at the bottom have all the information, none of the authority.
Yeah.
How would you, so bottom up, top down innovations?
We would just do, I mean, the approach we took to strategic planning,
Yeah.
like gathering people together multiple times a year, literally closing the restaurant, dividing up the team into groups, reaffirming our mission statement, articulating strategies for the year, breaking people up, and empowering them to like, hey, what do we want to do? And then actually mining that information and then giving them authority in return. So like giving people on the front line ownership over projects and the permission to bring them to life.
How would you mine the information? Could you systemize that, or is that kind of
Yeah. We would literally have meetings, all day meetings. We'd close the restaurant, bring everyone in.
What questions would you be asking people?
No questions.
Right, okay.
We would say, hey, a reminder, our mission statement is to be the most gracious and delicious restaurant in the world. This year's vision statement is to find a balance between going out and coming home. And the 3 strategies we are going to employ this year, and I'm being contemporaneous right now, but perhaps like softer earning informality or whatever the things for going out and coming out would be. And then we divide the team of 150 people up into 15 groups of 10. And your group would be responsible for team building. This group would be responsible for side work. This group would be responsible for tableside courses. This group would be responsible, whatever. And then they would have an entire day to just brainstorm specific, actionable ideas to further the agenda of the restaurant within their category.
Wow. What are some of the crazy ideas you tried that didn't work?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I'd love to know. Like, what was...
So many. Well, like out of that, let me do one-on-one. One, probably from that strategic planning meeting, they're like, something that makes me feel at home is like connecting with my friends at a picnic. Like there's something that makes me feel.
So sorry. So you you'd be on the ball. Like we want to make people feel.
We
feel at home. Sort of.
Going out versus coming home. To find balance between going out and coming home.
Going out versus coming home. What about? And the thought process was that you wanted to. What did you want to learn from that specifically?
I wanted the experience at the restaurant.
Yep.
To have all of the trappings of luxury associated with a 3 Michelin star restaurant, but to also be one where you felt like you were coming home. I wanted to make it the most casual version of luxury. We were trying to casualize luxury as much as we could.
I'm with you. Okay, yeah, with you.
And so there was a group of 10 people, and their area of focus was tableside presentations. So courses that were more than just putting a plate on a table. It would require like more theatrics. One of the ideas that came out of that group was picnics feel deeply connective. And their insight was that there's something like remarkably nostalgic and connective about having a picnic. And so our cheese course became a Central Park picnic. And we literally changed the tablecloth and picnic basket, and it became this whole thing that went very, very well, became something that was celebrated. Another one that came out of that didn't work is we had a hotel, the Nomad, right up the street. And there's something when you're at home, you finish dinner in the dining room, you go to the library, you have a cocktail. And we were like, we got to expand the experience from just happening at 11 Madison to also happening at Nomad. But that only works if we can get people there. All right, we need a car service that just sits in front of our restaurant and drives people over to that restaurant all night long.
Yeah.
But then they're like, but that's not enough. Like, we should drive people home to their apartments. Anyway, that idea never worked because, like, there were too many guests. We could never actually have enough cars to do it consistently for everyone without it being totally unaffordable from a financial perspective. We went from that. We had a rickshaw to try to do it at one point. That was a disaster because when it was really, really hot out, the people in the back felt like they were an imposition to this poor kid that was sweating while they were pedaling the rickshaw. So like, there's certain things that you just try over and over and over and over and over again. And I'd say 7 years after starting to figure out some sort of car service, we moved to the restaurant to the Hamptons and we got BMW to sponsor it and gave us 7 Series. And it finally worked. Now, it worked because we had a sponsorship around it. But one of the things we'd always say to people who had worked with us for a long time is if someone new joins the team and they have an idea that we've tried before that has failed, never shoot it down. Because just because we've tried it once and it didn't work, that doesn't mean that maybe they have a better approach that we didn't consider. Maybe the world has changed around us such the idea can now work.
There's a quote I live by, which is by, and a lot of comedians have it on their laptop, and it's Ernest Hemingway, the first draft of everything is shit, right?
Yes.
And the reason I like it is because, one, it gives you the creative freedom to have, because there's no such thing as a bad idea, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it allows you to maybe start with rickshaws, and if you keep going into that work and improving it, eventually you will, through another draft, a third draft, a fourth draft, fifth draft, sixth draft, get it better. And I love, like, one of my big things is good is the enemy of great. And, like, it's very dangerous when you're at good because, well, you start resting your laurels because the work can always be better.
Oh, good enough is never good enough.
Okay, yeah. Love that.
By the way, and I think there can be some bad ideas, but there might be a brilliant idea hiding just behind it.
Well, I think bad ideas are kernels to good ideas.
Yeah.
If is there an example of that where, so with the rickshaw, but like an example of, like an idea. So, okay, maybe I'll go first. So I went to Adam Hanley's restaurant, a guy interviewed in Thailand who owns the Frog in London, got a star. He's got a really gorgeous pub. Went there about a year and a half ago. And they do this chicken skin butter, which is orgasmically delicious. It's so good. And they have this like doorstop thick bread. And it comes to the table and it's just...
That sounds very good.
Oh, it's it's marvellous. So anyway, I ordered it. It was this like last Sunday. Order it, comes to the table, and it's in a different thing. So it's like almost three. So you got the chicken skin butter, which is this like almost sort of snow globe with these little shards of chicken skin in there. Then they had this almost like looked like a little thing of Mars. It was like this red parfait, and then they had this chicken gravy that you dunk in, and it was just they'd taken that idea that was already good and made it great. And it was just, all they'd done is added a little bit of parfait, but the dunking of the thing made it way more theatrical as an experience. Anything like that for you guys? We've taken a really good idea and just through, I love your quote. What's the magic quote about intention or just more effort?
Like, sometimes magic is just investing more energy in
yes. One idea. Yeah. So any on that?
I mean, at Nomad, the signature dish was our roasted chicken. With black truffle and brioche and foie gras under the skin. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was served for two. We'd present the bird, we'd come it back, we'd carve off the breasts, and then we'd do like a fricassee of the legs. And it was the signature dish. That entire hotel brand was effectively built on this chicken dish. There was no need to ever do anything with it. But every year we'd look at it and be like, how do we make it cooler? And now there's danger there because you have to be very careful with messing with something that is working that well. So you need to make sure you have a red team around you because you should never change something for the sake of changing it.
Red team as in...
Oh, a red team, meaning like if we have a brainstorming group and we come up with an idea that, let's say, I am very, very passionate about, I would say, okay, you, and you're the red team, which means your job is to study and come back with a impassioned argument why it's a bad idea.
Ooh.
Red team is, as I understand it, a term that's used in the news. Like when a news station's about to break a story, the red team tries to poke every hole in the story to make sure that they don't have egg on their face after the story comes out. We use it creatively. So like people who may even believed in the idea were on the red team. They had to intentionally challenge the idea.
Yeah.
And then if you still liked it after the red team was done with you, then you can roll it out. What we did there was, I forget whose idea it was, like most great ideas in collaboration. You never know the person who planted the seed. But like Thanksgiving, the wishbone, do you know this? Do you know what a wishbone is?
It's the thing in the chicken, right?
In the turkey and in the chicken?
Yeah.
Where two people pull it.
Yeah, my mum always used to say to me as a kid, like, make a wish, darlings.
And whoever gets the thing on the top, their wish comes true. So you and I both pull it, and I was like, I haven't done that in ages. And I loved doing that. So like, let's do that. So at the very end, when you had the chicken, we had this beautiful little piece of wood with a hole in it, and the wishbone just came out, and we just give people the wishbone. Totally unnecessary. It was already a hit. It just made something that was already awesome a little bit more awesome.
Yes. Is that applicable to other categories? Because I want to get onto the Welcome Conference.
Yeah, of course. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
If you're doing something that's really working, you should ask yourself, can it work even better? If you're doing something and it's just not working, obviously fix that.
Okay, yeah, before we get on to the Welcome Conference, is there any ideas? Because I think the having the courage to stick with an idea through hard times, like, and in a sense, it's almost like knowing it's going to be a bit shit to begin with, but there is something there. There's some sort of fodder there that you can bounce off. Is there an example that's kind of started not necessarily great through X number of drafts has become something that's really interesting?
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know things that started out not great. I just don't. The word for Miles Davis, endless reinvention. Like, there's nothing that didn't go through endless iterations. And I think that's what makes it fun. Yeah, it's actually the beauty of restaurants compared to the book. The book, the pro of the book is that it will forever be experienced exactly in the way that I intended. You could read this book in 50 years. It'll read verbatim the same way it reads now. Restaurant's hard because the restaurant's going to close. Every restaurant, any expression like that, and it will only exist in the memories of those who experienced it.
Yeah.
Now, the benefit of a restaurant versus a book is a restaurant, you can open it, and day 3 you can start tinkering, and you can tinker forever. A book, you can't. It is what it is.
Yep.
2 very creative expressions, but with like very, very big fundamental differences between them.
But also there's I suppose there's an interaction. There's a interaction with a book and a person.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things to do is reread books. Because I think same book.
Who you are when you've read it, where you're at in your life, the same words.
Yeah. It's like I actually asked this to Seth. I was like, "What's a book like?" Right. But also, I think you can have the right book, wrong time.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
And I asked him what I can't remember what he said, but because I think that's it's a really delicious experience. And you know, I read your book 2 years ago, maybe. Even before we'd already discussed it, and then I've got thousands of notes all over it, and then I go back and prep for this conversation, reread it, and I'm like, bro, like, you know, there was like a kernel of an idea, and I can't even remember like what I'd put, but like I scribble all over books, like I love doing that, because I feel like when you read a book with a pen, you're actually and make notes, you're not reading the book, you're having a conversation with the author. So that's why I love reading books from like old autobiographies from like the 1800s.
You're fully in their head. You're like listening to them. Yeah. Like,
and also you can read like weird. Like I tried to read like Dostoevsky, what the fuck it is, that Russian like novelist. He did Crime and Punishment.
Yeah, War and Peace.
and I was reading notes from the underground. I got to like, I gave it a good go, but I was on a beach in Thailand. I was like, this is kind of morbidly depressing.
Yeah, it's not that.
But it was interesting to see the way these guys think back then in 1846, whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, we're still the same.
That's
things.
what I'm saying, is you're experiencing it now exactly in the way that he intended it. And there were probably some remarkable restaurants then.
Yes.
That they don't even exist in memories of anyone anymore.
Yeah. If you could go back in time to like any period to like dip yourself in for a day or two to experience hospitality, to inform today, where would you go back to?
You know, I love movies. I just love, especially when you're very, very passionate about your work. Movies have always helped me put the world on pause and just like lose myself in something else.
What are your favorite films?
So many different movies. Like I'm not like I'm not like here's my top 3 films of all time.
Yeah.
But like when I think about that question, like The Last Emperor, and like thinking about like that level of, not that I crave being actually a part of that world.
Last Emperor is, I don't watch that many films, to be honest. But
No. It's China forever ago.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
But then also like Midnight in Paris and like those worlds. I would just love to, Last Emperor is the Forbidden City. Midnight in Paris is Paris in the 20s, right? Like there's so many moments where, and by the way, those two could not be more different from one another in terms of vibe. But there's something relentlessly beautiful about these different seasons in history and the way in which people created these environments. So I don't know where I would go, but I would like get a little time machine and just hop around for a few days for sure.
And what would you be trying to notice? Again, this is all like ethereal kind of, but like, because I don't.
That's the thing. I'm always surprised by what I notice wherever I go.
Yeah.
My dad used to say, "Keep your eyes peeled," which was his way of saying there's inspiration everywhere. If your eyes are open wide enough to see it.
Well, again, this could be a load of bollocks, but I've read it. I'm obsessed with the Beatles, and I talk about this a lot in the podcast. Their whole thing's reinvention, a bit like Miles Davies. Every single album was completely different.
100%.
9 years, bish, bash, bosh. Let's just become the best band of all time.
Yeah.
But there's a story of, and I've read a lot of the books on the Beatles, and it's Paul McCartney was on a plane. The Salt and Pepper arrive at the, to season his meal, whatever. And a flash of inspiration happens, but it's not really a flash because he'd been trying loads of different things. And he goes, S and Pepper, and then he writes Sergeant Pepper. And that's, there's a story, but if you notice, if you open yourself up to these things. So do you meditate or anything like that? Do you have any practices to open yourself up to awareness, or is that just kind of an innate thing for you?
I've done meditation in the past. It's never something that's stuck for me.
Interesting.
I think everyone has these things that they do to refill their tank. I do like to journal. I like a practice of reflection on a nightly basis.
Any specific, is it just chunder out whatever's in your head? Or is
My rule is I just have to write the date. That's all I actually have to do.
Oh, wow. So lower the stakes.
Lower the barrier so far. More often than not, once you write the date, you keep on writing.
Yeah.
There are some days where I'm just so wiped, I just write the date.
Yeah.
That happens very infrequently.
Yeah.
But no, what it could be is something that I was inspired by that day. It could be something I did that day that I feel merits an apology the next.
Such as?
Just being a person that I didn't want to be to someone on my team. Mm-hmm. Losing myself in a moment of intensity at work and bringing emotion to criticism, which is fine so long as you can actually step up and apologize the following day. And those moments of repair are sometimes the most powerful of all.
Moments of repair, most powerful of all,
in terms of building trust. Interesting. If you've ever, think about relationally. If you have a friend and you never have a fight, that's a pretty good friend. If you have a friend and you actually had a knockdown, blowout fight, and then one of you came to the table and said, hey, I actually deeply care about this friendship. I'm sorry. Like, I want to repair it. Those are generally actually the greatest relationships because you fought to save it and you become closer as a result. The same is true in customer service, actually. There's all this data around if someone has a good experience, they'll talk about it this much. If they have a bad experience, they'll talk about it this much. If they have a bad experience, but whatever the company is, invested the time, energy, and resource to make it right, that's the one they'll talk about the most.
Anything on that? If there's some ag with a customer or
whatever it is, if they're upset and you put in the work to make it right, they will become one of your most deeply loyal customers.
So why would you say so much customer service is? That's just not. I think you're like a unique person in this regard, but I think it comes easy to you. But for a lot of people, it's customer service.
Well, because what gets measured gets managed, and it's harder to calculate the return on that. I think of customer recovery as one of the greatest forms of marketing you can do, and people woefully underspend on it.
Is there any brands you've worked with across the Welcome Conference or with your consultancy about turning an adversity into opportunity?
I haven't met. I don't have a list of people that are exceptionally good at that. But it is something I believe in very, very passionately.
I think it's because you get the ego. As soon as there's a argy-bargy, an ego.
Well, no, I just don't think people think about that way in terms of how to invest their dollars.
Interesting.
Like, all these brands have wildly big marketing budgets. And then if you ask them what their customer recovery budget is, they don't even have a line item for it.
It's the budgets. It's interesting. I interviewed the global CEO of Tony Chocolonely. Have you seen the chocolate brand? It's pretty big in the States now. So like really big, thick chocolate. And they've got offices in all over the world. And one of his things he did, which was more internally just to change the whole conversation, is they had like 5 coffee machines in their central office. And he was like, we're just creating a workforce that is just siloed. And like no one actually knows what's going on across any of the business.
Yeah.
So he got rid of all the coffee machines, just had one in the middle. Everyone's going, why are you doing that? And he was like, just wait. And he goes, the connection and to create the culture of the ideas. I was just like, but again, it's just taking away the coffee machines. It's really, 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 really smart. What have you? So you said you were texting Seth this morning. Like, what have you? I used to deliver cheese around London. Like, fucking, I left uni. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of got into the underbellies of kitchens. I was really got excited for this. But I read, oh my God, what was the book I read? It wasn't Purple Lynchpin.
Okay.
And that basically, reading that book basically put me on the journey for this. So he's like a hero of mine. And he's been on a few times.
Yes.
What have you learned from him?
I mean, so much. You talk about creative people. I'll never forget this one story. When I met him the first time, I think I had just bought a bunch of Girl Scout cookies. Do you know what Girl Scout cookies are?
That sounds stupid. Are they like cookies for Girl Scouts? That's not me being...
No. It's a deeply American thing. So that's why I asked the question.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know.
So
no.
Girl Scout cookies are released, I think, twice a year. And they're sold by Girl Scouts. And it's how they raise money for their troops. And they're very classic cookies. They've almost never changed. There's Thin Mints and Tagalongs. They're the same cookies that I was eating when I was a kid that they're selling now. And they're like $5 a box or something.
It's the same cookie. It's like
But they're released seasonally. And that's a moment. And
with you.
People crave them because they're nostalgic. And also buy a lot of them because you're supporting your friend's daughter, effectively.
With you.
He was telling the story about how there was, at the grocery store that he went shopping at, there was a table, like a little folding table with 2 Girl Scouts selling Girl Scout cookies outside of the grocery store. And every time he'd leave, they'd be saying to everyone leaving the store or coming in, do you want to buy some Girl Scout cookies? Do you want to buy some Girl Scout cookies? And invariably, even though they're little kids, people have a tendency to just walk past people trying to sell them stuff.
Yeah.
And one day he walked past them and they turned around and he goes, hey, can I give you some advice? Which is these two Girl Scouts had no clue that they were getting advice by Seth Godin, like one of the great thinkers of our time.
Yeah.
And he goes, stop asking people if they want to buy Girl Scout cookies. Just start asking them what their favorite Girl Scout cookie is. Because everyone here has an answer to that question. And he was just like giving them the best advice ever, which was to express curiosity in someone else's perspective, engage them in conversation. And I'm sure their cookie sales went up dramatically. He wasn't trying, he was giving them advice to stop trying to sell at people and instead try to engage with them. And then the sale became an inevitability.
Yeah. Because it's interesting because he's one of the greatest marketeers, but why I love him is was very good friends with Zig Ziglar, who wrote The Secret of Closing the Sale. And he read that book, like I think he reads it every year or listens to the tape every year. So he has this marketing, and he's a genius, like one of the most greatest marketing minds ever. But I love it. He has this it's not that he knows how to sell things as well. Well, he's baked in his understanding through his relationship with Zig Ziglar how to sell stuff, which essentially that's like the best sales advice ever, which is just stop, or again, as what we're saying, don't enforce hospitality onto people, like change the conversation. Exactly. Wild. Yeah, because didn't he have dinner with Danny Mayer and Danny Mayer's nose broke or something?
I don't know that story.
I think that happened, maybe. I think he walked through a door or something.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So talk to me about Danny Mayer, because, you know, setting the table, he's the Don, he's the, like, what have you learned from him? I know he's got lots of sort of very pithy aphorisms, be the swan, slow, gentle pressure. I mean, there's a myriad.
Yeah.
What are the ones that you've picked up from him?
I mean, the entire idea of, I call those isms.
Yes.
The entire idea of isms I learned from him, the power of language to articulate a culture, and going so far as to create these little pithy articulations of your non-negotiables to A, send a meta signal to everyone on your team that these things matter in this culture, and B, make it as easy as possible for people to repeat those ideas such that they gain steam and traction within the environment. His focus on language to articulate culture is unbelievable. I think what he's accomplished by virtue of it is nothing short of extraordinary.
I really believe words matter, and I don't think we put enough attention to it. And I think like the idea of like calling it a captain, like in that one word, you could call it because it's manager or captain. Yeah, you just change the word, everything else changes. Like go into what Danny taught you about that. Like any specific examples about, because words, I mean, change behavior.
Well, the words, whether it's be the swan, the salt shaker, constant gentle pressure, all of those things were really how that was impressed upon me. How I took that, like one of my first jobs for Danny was I was opening the cafeteria at the MoMA. A cafeteria is the furthest thing from fine dining.
The MoMA was?
The Museum of Modern Art in New York City.
Oh, sick, yeah.
And the main position at a cafeteria outside of the people cooking the food is a cashier. We learned before we even opened, because I'd been inspired by him, cashiers are not, like, we sat around and we're like, where are the best cashiers you've ever seen? And no one had a list, because like, that's not a job that dictates excitement, passion, responsibility. And so we had the same job, we just renamed it. And we called it MC, which was a play on words, a little bit, the letter M, C, menu consultant, which made it very, very clear in the actual job title that you needed to really know the menu. You were consulting people on the food that they were ordering. And also MC, like the master of ceremonies, that like this is an important job. And by virtue of that one simple change of title, we ended up with some of the most remarkable people. Same pay scale, same job, different title. My mother-in-law, and this is one now I've realized has existed in more than just her scenario, worked as an accounting. She was an accountant. She was a partner in a firm in Virginia. They don't have receptionists there. They have the director of first impressions. You're not there to receive people. You are there as their first impression. And in re-articulating an idea, you make it very clear to the person, to the individual, what their responsibility actually is. I think people need to stop putting security guards at the front of luxury stores. They need to replace them with doormen or hosts, right? Like people who still need to make sure that the environment is secure, but that is not the entirety of their role. Their role is also to warmly greet people. I mean, I went to a very expensive watch store because I owned one of their watches and I was going in for a repair. And the security guard made me feel like I was a criminal walking in there because his entire job was to keep the environment secure without realizing that he was also the first impression for people who had spent a lot of their money to support that brand. A simple job title change there would have, in my view, led to significant result.
Yeah, I think it's like I feel like it's, and that's why we have like a blandemic of these sort of mission statements and just brands. I think it all starts with a set of language and code, and then the brand actually comes off that. And I feel like people really need to. Words can be very heavy. I don't mean heavy as in like in a darkness way, but as in like in a
Powerful.
Powerful. Yeah, that's the better way of putting it. And yeah, it's mad. Like there's a Peter Thiel, who's the famous American billionaire. He wrote a really good article. And again, this may be less, but it's how the word sales. We've all tried to change the word. It's almost where it doesn't work, or at least it doesn't in the UK. So no one would ever say like on their LinkedIn page, sales manager, right? It would be like commercial director, or like new business development, or partnerships manager. Like all these little words make a massive difference. And I feel like one of my big things is when we've been trying to like do partnership deals with the podcast, is just changing the word from you to our. So everything's as an OUR, like our partnership, our future. So I really believe that little word can like have a massive change on the direction of travel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's mad. What's underrated about Danny Meyer or Meyer?
Gosh, what is underrated about him? Everyone, I think, understands his focus on culture, the impact he's had on hospitality and restaurants. I think that what's maybe not celebrated enough about him is the amount of ownership he gives to the people on his team. Not necessarily literal ownership, but the feeling of ownership. When I worked for him, I really thought of the restaurant that I worked at as my restaurant.
Wow.
Like, and there were times that I would do something that he didn't agree with, but he would let me do it. Now, there were moments where he'd be like, hey, this is my restaurant. I want it done this way. But he was very, very careful with how often he played that card. He's good at allowing people to truly make things their own, and there's zero ego attached. I think he's one of the greatest to ever live. I love that man so much.
In terms of tensions and not friends, I love that as a theory. Ego versus not having an ego, because I feel like this whole one of the guys we went for lunch with, Rory and Osh, in fact, Seth wrote the foreword, The Science of Storytelling, Will Storr, insane book, and he's wrote The Status Game. And we were sort of, over a bottle of wine, he was saying the issue with egoless sometimes is that if we were all just Buddhists, none of this would have been, if we just sat there going like, namaste, bro, like none of this stuff would have been built. So it's like we need this, sometimes we need, and this is just a delta of exploration here, is we actually need ego, we need aggression, we need drive and competitiveness, because it pushes us forward.
And conviction.
And I wouldn't be sat here in Nashville with you if I didn't have an ego, right? If I was like, I'm just going to just do this. But at the same time, if you're a dick, again, I believe it's another tension. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So how do you navigate that? Because clearly, to become number one, you even write in the book like you were hurting when they read your name out first. Like it hurt. Like So you need that ego, but also you shouldn't have too much of an ego. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need an ego. What I even said before about creativity, like, I like to dream of a world that I wish existed and then one day welcome people into my imagination. Like, why is my imagination something that anyone should care to walk into? That is ego-driven. I believe that my imagination's good enough that other people should want to walk into it. I mean, how you navigate it is through, again, not to be redundant, intention. It's knowing what you want to be and also knowing what you don't want to be, and surrounding yourself with people who trust you and feel trusted enough by you that they're willing to call you out when you go too far. Like, if you don't have anyone around you that's willing to be like, hey, dude, you're wrong. Or, hey, dude, this version of you kind of sucks. Like, I talk about criticism and how you invest in the people that work for you. You better put yourself in a scenario where other people feel comfortable investing in your growth as well.
Comfortable investing in your growth. And is that something is that linked back to the intention and the language?
I'm just saying, if you have no one around you that is willing to tell you when you're messing up, then you are never going to know when you're messing up, and you are going to stop growing.
Yes, okay.
If criticism is an investment in someone else's growth, then you better make sure that there are people on your team that feel comfortable criticizing you.
The David Chang pod you did was great. Oh, Dave Chang.
Yeah.
And he said you're a maniac. How are you a maniac? Because I think it's an interesting, because you have this attention to detail and all this stuff. Like, when you said that, what would you say that meant?
I think he's probably speaking to, I work hard. And if you work with me, you will be celebrated and supported and cared for, and you're expected to work hard as well.
What does hard look like to you? Like in a week, this last week, whatever. Like, because I think there's levels of hard. And
hard is just doing whatever it takes, given the moment, to achieve the most fully realized version of whatever it is you're doing. I'll give you an example. We held our Unreasonable Hospitality Summit for the first time here in Nashville last year.
Where was it? Like in a...
It was at the Four Seasons.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it's 350 people. They come to Nashville. It's a 2-day thing. It's not like Welcome. Welcome is a conference, a 1-day thing. This is more of like a practical workshop through the lessons of unreasonable hospitality, but also conference and party and this whole thing. And when we sold tickets last year, I was surprised by the number of people that were coming alone. I imagined that it would be groups of 2, 4, 6, like people from different companies coming together. And I was not just surprised, I was concerned, because so much of the summit was designed not just for what was happening from the stage, but also what was going to happen at the tables. And I was fearful that some tables filled with groups that had known each other for a long time were going to be fully leaning in and alive and vibrant, and then other tables with a lot of solo diners would be reserved and shy, and it would be negatively impactful in the conference and also for those individuals. I'm a relentlessly extroverted person, but even I don't like to walk into a hotel ballroom if I don't know anyone. It makes me uncomfortable. And so with the team, we were talking, I was like, all right, hold on. I want you to, let's write an email to everyone that's coming alone. And we're like 3 weeks out from the summit. We have a lot of stuff on our plate. And say, hey, we saw you're coming alone. We're not throwing shade. Like, actually, we're honored that you're doing it.
Yeah.
The night before the summit, if you're traveling into town, if you already have friends you're looking to see, or if you just want some rest, great. If you'd actually like to meet someone else who's coming alone, we're going to set up dinners all around Nashville, and we're going to pair you.
Yeah.
I'm intense to work with because the people on my team know that at any moment, something like that might come about. And that's an incredible amount of work to now be emailing separately with 60 people to figure out what kind of restaurants they want to be at and getting to know them well enough to pair them at all these 6 stops for something that doesn't, there's no money in that. That doesn't change the conference, but it will make it better because by virtue of having done that, all the people that came alone walked into the summit the next morning when it started already in relationship with someone else.
Wow.
That's probably what Dave was talking about.
Yeah.
When I get excited about an idea, I always say to my team, do not ruin a story with the facts.
Do not ruin a story with the facts.
When I have an idea of something I want to achieve, if someone immediately tells me why it's not possible, I get very upset.
Oh, same here, yeah.
I want a group of people that only looks at how it is possible and then is willing to do whatever it takes to bring the idea to life.
I'm the same as that. Like, but the worst thing someone can say to me is you can't do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I have a complete maniac in my head that won't stop. So with conferences, right? So we're doing, it's more of a, so we do these, these supper clubs and stuff. And we're doing our big Hungry Hooteroonie at the end of the year, right? Rory's speaking at it.
What is Hooteroonie?
It's basically so we do these supper clubs, these live podcasts.
But what's the etymology of Hooteroonie?
Just my weird brain. I don't know. Just like it's a hoot, and I use the word Rooney a lot in my writing. I just think it just sounds quite interesting. It's memorable, and it's everyone I say they're like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Well, that's half the job done."
Yeah.
And so when we do these supper clubs or networking events. Again, okay, this is to the point about language. I can't stand the word networking, even though it is ostensibly a networking event. Going into that mindset just creates different language equals different behaviors.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you were to just call it like a make mates thing, again, it's one little word, but it changes everything. And so, like, I looked at a lot of these events that were going on. We've got happen in London all the time, and you go there. There's like lanyards, and it's kind of. There's a lot of irritants, I find, and it's kind of forced. The food's always crap. Like, it's little things, but the food's always awful. But like, it's very sponsored heavy with like banners and stuff. So I basically wrote a list of everything I dislike about these events, and then basically wanted to create the sickest thing. So we did it in November. I had a Michelin star chef called Tom Brown who does a surf and turf.
Yeah.
With another chef called Brad Carter, so like the food was sick, and also I was like, why does we have to be at a dinner table for these events? So I booked an area where we had all these different seats that flowed around like this, because the last thing you want at a networking event is people to be stuck with someone that you don't want to be speaking to, and unless you just get everyone up.
7 minutes in, you're like,
I'm like, oh mate, I had it one week, and the guy was like, bro, I'm an investment guy. Like, I was just like, oh no, this is game set match. Like, this is done, And so we wrote like a list of these things, and like we did it and executed it, and I felt really happy because everyone was like, the energy in the room was generous, and it was like, it was about creating those things, but it was about saying this is not it's not like a networking event. Do you know what I mean? I was trying to create that magic. And anyway, so we're doing this Hooteroonie, and I've got all these crazy ideas in my head. Like, obviously the podcast is called Hungry. I want to do Hungronies, so when people walk in, my branding's orange and pink.
Yeah.
So like, I've got all these crazy ideas, but what I'd love to know is like all the lessons you've taken from the restaurants. How have you made your network, your events magical? Like, what have you? Because they can be quite stuffy sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just about. Have you ever read the book The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should read it.
Oh, really?
It's really good.
The Art of Gathering.
Yeah.
Sick.
She's very good about intention and how to do things that prompt connection. I think with every event, and different events are geared towards different outcomes. For me, certain things I do are for inspiration. Other things I do are for connection. Others are for community. Others, and it's about identifying what is the reason that this thing exists, and how do we do little and big things to optimize for that end goal. Like, when it's inspiration, I mean, that is just being as wildly creative and persistent in finding the best people to take the stage. I mean, Rory spoke last year at Welcome and obviously crushed it, right? And I was introducing, Rory's very big, but for a lot of the people in that room, they had not heard of him yet. And like introducing someone like him to that group was lovely.
Yeah.
Something like the summit where people are going for education and inspiration, but also really community. They want to spend a couple of days with like-minded people from differing industries to be inspired by them. Then it's like, what very specific things do we do at the table to get people to let their guards down such that they like are very open and sharing ideas with one another?
So what were some of those things?
I mean, that's what you really should read, The Art of Gathering. Like,
yeah, 100%.
They're like, we used to do this dinner series where I love small talk for certain things. And yet at an event, if you're not careful, people can waste the entire time together in small talk. And you could put 6 remarkably interesting people around a table and they don't say anything. So we would literally just say, hey, guys, I don't want to be too heavy-handed. This is not dogmatic. No one's getting in trouble if they don't. But there's 3 questions on the table. Could you actually like get the small talk out of the way and then dive deep into those ideas and make that the conversation?
What were the questions?
They differ based on event. I mean, it depends what you're trying to accomplish. But one of Priya's rules.
So you'd basically start with, with my thing, so I ask these questions selfishly. My thing is inspiration. So because I've been doing this for so long, I've got links, make a few WhatsApp voice notes so I can basically get the lineup sorted, like in that industry. So that's what's done. Inspiration, community. I want people to meet like-minded people of a similar, probably X size of brand, but then also have fun. So I've got like a DJ coming and stuff like that. Like I want it to be really...
But to like community.
Yeah.
If you and I met at a pub and we had a really fun night, it'd be great. And we'd probably just go our separate ways and never really talk again. Because we would just be fucking around the entire night. I wouldn't really know anything about you. You wouldn't really know anything about me.
Yeah.
Vulnerability brings people together. Talking about real things makes people feel much closer. And so if you're really trying to establish community, like prompting the kind of questions that allow people to open up more than just whatever random things we talk about at a party. The other thing, this comes from Priya's book, and it works to varying degrees of success around a round table. Like, let's say 6 people are sitting together, which is not what you're doing, but one conversation at a time. I think is always a really powerful rule. Basically, Priya's thing is like, rules are not bad.
Rules are not bad. Interesting.
Like actually having rules that people need to follow.
Yes.
As long as you're very thoughtful and, don't get carried away.
And also it's not something naff like, what's your dog's name?
It's not, there's plenty of places like you go to these retreats where you're not allowed to say what you do for a living. I'm not saying that's what you should do.
No, but I just think it's interesting because I think this is bringing alive everything we're saying about intention and language and rules. And actually these, almost the constraint is it's the freedom of a tight brief.
I also think assigned seating is hospitable.
What did you say?
Assigned seating is a gesture of hospitality.
Oh, as in where people sit. Yeah, 1,000%.
I hate an event that I go to unless it was done by unthoughtful people. Where it's just open seating. Because now, like, I have the pressure of having to let this person down whereas if someone's very thoughtful about how they assign seating, I think it's a gesture of hospitality. I'm going to go into the dining room when I'm ready to sit down. I know where I'm sitting. Hopefully they've put me alongside people that I'm going to be excited about spending a night with.
We did our first, again, the first draft of Everything is Shit. Our first supper club was like 4 years ago now. And just because I wasn't very organised, I've now got an EA who's amazing, who helps me. Like basically, she sorted all this out today. But, and I just thought, so I basically, and it put more pressure on me. I basically got up to do the live podcast. I was like, we haven't got any seats, so just sit wherever. The anxiety it caused me, because people don't just, unless that first person sits down, like we're mimetic creatures. There's no like, And so now every time we have like a set plan, it's like, that's just off my head.
Yeah.
But it was like, I was like, please just sit down in head. My head inside was just going into overdrive. Like, this is an absolute carsy. Like, this is not
But
going.
also, and if you ever do assigned seating, spend more time than seems appropriate on figuring out who sits where.
Yes. So the questions are brilliant. What else? So when people come into, so the Welcome Conference is an inspiration. The Unreasonable Summit, is that the right way around?
Yeah.
Is that
It's inspiration, but training, and then also community.
Okay, cool. From the Welcome, what's been the most memorable talk, other than maybe Rory?
I mean, so many, man. That's a hard one. Like, Rory's was incredible. We had a guy named Jesse Cole this last year from the Savannah Bananas.
What's
who
Savannah
was
Bananas?
unbelievable. Savannah Bananas are an exhibition baseball team in the States. He bought a minor league baseball team, and effectively, it was a failing team. And he and his wife, you should just look up this. There's no way for me to fully do them justice,
Sure.
but I'll give you like the very, very 30,000 foot description.
Yeah.
They changed half of the rules of baseball. It's like he's inspired by Walt Disney and Ringling Brothers. Like it's a full show
Yeah.
now. And it's this random former minor league baseball team from Savannah
Where's Savannah?
in Georgia, not too far from here. That now sells out Major League Baseball stadiums every single year and has like more followers on social media than any other Major League Baseball team. But they've changed rules. So like if you had a foul ball, do you know enough about the rules of baseball to somewhat understand?
We've got cricket. I'll work it out.
Foul ball
Yeah.
goes into the crowd.
Yeah.
If you had a foul ball at a Savannah Bananas game and someone in the crowd catches it, it counts as an out. So he's like actually giving the fans a sense of ownership in the outcome of the game.
Wow.
And so many things like that. Look up the Savannah Bananas. They're incredible.
And what if you could boil him into like one pithy aphorism? Like, what's his? You would say yours is intention, for example. What would you say?
He and I are very kindred spirits.
Interesting.
Like, but I'd say his is like a combination of two things. Fans first, like he's relentless in thinking about every decision through the eyes of the people that they're serving, the fans.
Yeah.
And if he was a baseball player, he got injured in college. Like he loves the sport of baseball. He's not messing with tradition for the sake of it, but he will not do something just because it's always been done.
But again, that links to Rory's things. At school, you can't rewrite the question, but in business, you can.
Yeah.
And I think like the fun or the smart idea lies in the dumb question. So it's like, and I think a lot of things, again, with creativity, I think questions are what help you open up creativity, and asking dumb questions is one of the most beautiful things you can do. Any other specific speakers that were really like, I don't know, just had like
so many
interesting
every year.
ideas.
It's been, there was a girl named Lindsay Reg this past year who started a chain of coffee shops in North Carolina where they only employ people with autism.
Wow.
And like her whole thing is like, so many people are so much more capable than we give them credit for. And if you actually give people responsibility, it's wild to watch the people they become. And in hospitality, with so many people struggling to actually fill their teams, she has a wait list of thousands of people that want a job, and she just can't open coffee shops quickly enough to give them all jobs.
Wow.
We've been doing this for 10 years, though, 12 years, the Welcome Conference. So there's
there's
more than 100 speakers.
But I think it's the principle of looking at things, just spotting obvious things that are not non-obvious to most people. I want to, on the Welcome Conference, have you heard about the peak-end rule?
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite things.
I love the
peak-end rule. And again, I suppose it's the cognac thing.
Yeah,
it's a great
example.
It's a great example. Have you heard of the Do Lectures? Oh, mate, you need to check that out. So Seth knows him. A guy called David Hyatt does the Do Lectures in Wales, and it's in the arsenal, like not the arsenal. No, that's not a way of saying it, but like it's in the middle of nowhere, and
it's a conference.
It's a conference, but it's again, but like It's basically in these almost like glamping kind of tents.
Oh, fun.
And it's on the, but if you want inspiration just to do things differently, but he's been going for years and he's got like a series of books, you know, it's all about it's all about taking action. That's his intention. So it'd be like do writing, do speaking, do creativity. But they, again, to limitations, so that you have to apply. It's a rigorous application process. And
to attend or to speak?
To attend.
Got it.
Tim Ferriss and Ryan Holiday spoke there back in the day. And they only ever allow 100 people. So it's a really good constraint. But one of the things that he came on the pod, I was asking him, and he goes, we just don't know how to end the event. And we don't know what we're going to do. And basically what he got everyone to do was write a letter of kind of who they wanted to be, you know, coming out of the event. It's kind of very much an inspirational, transformative thing. And they have this cow shed, which is covered in candles at the end of the event as you're going to you basically walk through it and you burn your old self and then take your new sheet of who you are.
That's cool.
But he was saying he was struggling for ages. Like, how do you think about the peak end rule in the conference side of things? Because I feel like in a restaurant, it's quite easy to create that magic. In events, it's not as obvious in my head.
Yeah. I mean, I think, honestly, the way I thought about it with Welcome, which took me a few years to figure, I think started to realize this 3 years ago, was to do less so that I could do a little bit more. Like every year I got so excited about all the speakers I wanted to bring to the stage, and the end of the conference every year, it's an amazing day.
Yeah.
It sells out in 30 seconds every year. It's a very special day. And yet the end of the day always felt stressful because I was just trying to squeeze too much in. I felt people were bringing such high expectations to the day and I wanted to over-deliver. And in trying to over-deliver, I was actually not sticking the landing year after year after year, where it was going a little bit too late. We were never hitting the end time perfectly. We had given people so much content that they were just getting a little bit too tired at the end of the day. And so what I've done, at a certain point, we had 11 speakers in a day. I think this year we're going to have 7.
So what time would it start then?
It goes from 9 to 5.
9 to 5. And then is there a dinner at the end? Or?
There's then the world programs parties around the conference.
Well, no, that's because I want to get into the Walt Disney of events now, like your imagination, like take me into that.
Well, so that's where there's things that I intentionally choose not to own.
Interesting.
Because I want as many other people to feel a sense of ownership as possible in what I'm doing. If I throw the after party, no one else can. I've basically taken away, not from a legal perspective, but just like, if I'm doing it, other people won't do it. If I don't do it, a lot of other people will fill that space. And so there's so many really fun after parties across New York City after the Welcome Conference, because other people see it as an opportunity to gather their communities while everyone's in New York at the same time.
Oh, so when you say other people, that's other, so would you get...
Other companies.
But they pay you to have those people?
No.
Oh, so you're just like, we're just going to let you do it?
People, yeah, I'm like, we're not doing it. You guys do whatever you want.
Interesting.
I think sometimes people try to control so much that they don't allow people.
Have you read much of Charles Bukowski? Oh, God, he's wrote wonderful, like one of my favorite American writers. He wrote a book called The Postman, but he was one of those writers who he was like an alcoholic postman and would just write, but he writes in a really like simplistic way. And we just talk about life in America from that perspective.
Yeah.
Ham on Rye is a really good book. But one of his kind of big things is just don't try. And honestly, he chain smoked, he would drink, but he's one of those beautiful writers. And I'd love to like, maybe we're kind of swimming to that territory now, but it sounds kind of obvious, but when's it important to not try or don't try sometimes in hospitality?
Well, I need to think about that articulation, because my instinctive response is to cringe at the idea of not trying.
Yeah. Maybe letting go is a better way of saying it.
Well, yeah, what I'm not saying is if I decide to do something, I'm going to try really, really hard to do it as well as humanly possible. What I'm saying is, I don't need to be the person that does everything. And with welcome, for example, my team and I only have so much bandwidth. We could throw one really great after party for sure. And it would be, in my view, the best after party, right? Because obviously I'm creating the thing I wish existed. So it would be weird if I didn't think it was the best. But by not doing one, a lot of other people working really hard to create something amazing that is a part of welcome. And so even though they're not contributing to the conference itself, they're contributing to the day. And it means that there's an entire army of people out there really showing up with all of their passion to make the day better. And that makes the day better. It doesn't need to be all mine. The more, in the same way that what the Savannah Bananas did with the foul ball is cool, because now the person in the audience can actually contribute to whether the team wins or loses. The more people that have a sense of ownership over how the day goes, the more invested in its success they become. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. I think it's maybe what Bukowski says, don't try, but I think the whole point of that is he was a kind of a, what's the word, not piss taker. He was kind of like as a writer.
Well, it was.
He was kind of like wrapped in melancholy, but was kind of,
It was intentionally provocative.
Yeah, that's it.
But no, but back to what I said before, we used to have 11 speakers, now we have 7. And what we've realized was it's a long day, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
The last speaker is never a speaker. It's music, or it's just something so that people can stop thinking and smile together at the end of the day.
Yeah. How do you think about the moments in between the moments? So like the in between each talks, I think, because especially say we're linking this to inspiration and community.
Yeah.
I love it when I go to events and there's time to actually just kind of mingle and mooch around. And are you intentional about that? Like, do they? Yeah. How do you?
Well, that's what we're trying to get better at. Honestly, like it's 2,000 people at Welcome, and so the amount of time to get everyone out and get them fed and then get them back in, or to do the same thing again for snacks. It's hard to have as much of that community, which is why I talk about the summit as more about...
How many is at the summit?
How many people? 300.
300.
350.
Okay, yeah. How would you do it at the summit then? Because that's...
Oh, so many different things. I don't want to, like, there's too many things that I don't want to ruin the surprise of for people that come. But there's all these little games that we play, or little, like, fun secret surprises.
Could you give us one or two? Not what you're doing this year that you've done.
I'll tell you one I did in the past that you
might not use again or something.
I'm pretty certain we're not doing this year. This was fun. So day one of the summit is in the ballroom, effectively, and then people go to their rooms, change, then we gather together.
4 Seasons.
Yeah.
Sick.
And then we gather together on the rooftop for a really fun dinner, live music, party that night. When they check in to the summit, they all have a name tag. And on the name tag is a pin. And there were, I think, 18 different versions of the pins. They all had the UH, the Unreasonable Hospitality logo. But the pins were, or maybe there were 20 different pins. 4 different colors, 5 different shapes. So you might have a red star and I might have a green square. But 20 different shapes times 350 people, it means that whatever, there were like groups of 20 people that all had the same pin. So when they left the classroom part of the day to go change, they said, tonight, we don't want to be one of these events where you wear your lanyard at a party. That makes it feel more like an event and less like a party. We host events, or we host parties, not events. But put the pin on. And here's the game. You'll notice that there's about 15, 18 other people wearing the same pin, shape and color as you. The game to play tonight is to, by the end of the night, figure out why you're wearing the same pin as them. There's you are grouped together with intention. There's something that connects you all. And the first group to figure it out, we have a really fun prize for you. And so that night, people that had never met each other were like deeply engaging with one another to try to figure out what they had in common so that they could figure out what the connective tissue was. The next day, all the groups started going through their thing, and we're like, all right, you guys want to know the truth? We just randomly gave you the pins.
Oh, wow.
There was nothing that actually bonded you together, but every group found so many different things that did.
Yes. That's beautiful.
And it was just, some people were like, fuck you guys. But like, it was an exercise. It was a lesson in like, we have a lot in common with everyone. And if you actually work to figure it out, it's unbelievable what you can identify. And in hospitality, if you can actually get people to let their guards down and find things that give you a genuine connection to them, regardless of the relationship, you can go so much further.
I think networking is really hard for that because there's a certain anxiety.
You just need to change the rules.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's you're there to learn, but meet people. And I feel the whole idea of just networking, it's like, one, that word to me conjures up feelings of like transaction. And two, it's like, I think with networks, it's going narrow and deep. You know, less people, but more depth. Whereas I feel like these events, it's like, let's do an icebreaker fucking thing. And it's like, you know, the name of someone's dog and whether they like, you know, what their favorite color is, but you don't have any actual depth. Is there ways you can galvanize vulnerability? If vulnerability equals connection, can you galvanize that?
Well, I mean, dude, some of those questions that we asked at those events were galvanizing vulnerability.
Really?
Like, some of the questions were intense.
Such as?
Like, how are you failing in your role right now?
Oh, fucking hell. That's set up even in my tummy right now.
Yeah, and imagine like having to actually open up and say that to a group full of strangers. And also how good it feels to answer that question to a group full of strangers.
How are you failing in your role right now?
Yeah. Again, questions like that. This is like a year and a half ago that we did that.
Yeah, but how are you failing in your role right now?
How am I failing in my role right now? I'm saying yes to a little bit too much. I need to get better at saying no. I don't have the margin that I need to. This is a high-class problem. I have a lot of people reaching out to me to do a lot of things that sound really cool. And I don't like letting people down. And I need to get better at saying no to a lot more stuff. Because whether it's in my life as a husband, son, dad, friend, or at work, and just having space to dream, find myself doing so many things that I don't have the number of hours I need to succeed at all those.
That's what Jeremy King said. He said that the 2 pieces of wisdom from his book. Have you read Without Reservation?
I have not.
Oh, it's a really good book. It's like it's kind of like the James Bond of it's very British. I wrote that. So it's the James Bondification of Will Guidara's.
Oh, that's fun.
There's a lot of differences, but a lot of similarities.
When did it come out?
Oh, fuck, I just assumed you read it. I'll get you a copy.
No,
of
I
it.
can get it. I'll get it.
2 months ago. It's really good, like, because obviously he's slightly older, so he's like 70, but he saw all his whole things as revolution starting restaurants. So he was crazy story of, it's about making something happen when you just make something fucking happen. He gets the Ivy, and it's all like, looking back now, these are such British institutions. It was either Le Caprice or the Ivy, and it was kind of, not many people were coming in. It was early days. And they get a call that Mick Jagger was coming in, and the guy on the phone or picking up the receiver was about to say like, we've got loads of availability tonight. And Jeremy goes, no, we're fully booked, but we'll try and find you a thing. So he goes and hustles, gets all his family to come in for that evening. And then so Mick Jagger comes bowling in, and then suddenly everyone's like, Mick Jagger's there. And, you know, he had relationships with Lucian Freud, the famous artist.
Yeah.
Princess Diana was like a regular there. So it's really interesting. And obviously I live in London, so
That's
you see.
fun, dude.
But one of his things was, I mean, he had some really interesting ones. The first thing was look people in the eye. So he would ask everyone that was there, was like, what colour's their eye? And he had a little, his granddaughter, so he was having tape out for dinner with Ruthie Rogers, who does the cafe. And Ruthie went to her granddaughter, colour? Well, as the waiter came around, she goes, brown. She goes, good. And it was the colour of the waiter's eyes. So she was teaching that to her 2-year-old.
That's cool.
Which was sick. The other thing was maintaining your standards is the fastest route to bankruptcy. Links that kind of riffs on your reinvention thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing, to your point about saying no, Jeremy says, and I've heard Tim Ferriss say this, if a speaking engagement comes up and it's in 7 weeks' time, would you do it tonight?
Yeah. Tim said that to me as well.
So have you met Tim Ferriss then?
Yeah.
What have you learned? Because these guys I've listened to for years, like they're my heroes. Like, what have you learned from him? He's based in Austin, right?
Yeah, he's between Austin and he's always all over the place. I've only met him a couple times. We've had dinner. We were speaking at the same event. We had dinner that night. No, sometimes. I mean, that was one we talked about this exact thing, and that was the advice he gave me.
Oh, interesting.
But sometimes with someone like him, it's so easy to learn from someone on their podcast or all the other stuff they're putting out. I just like to hang out with people. I just like to get to know them as a human being. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like, what did you learn about him what is it? Because I feel like he's just such a on his podcast that's the example of
he's just a good dude.
Sick.
He's just a really good guy.
Yeah.
And he's kind and he's invested in relationship. Like I really, really liked him. And like anyone, he's a human being and trying to figure stuff out. And I think that's...
Yeah, there's something about meeting your heroes which is kind of underwhelming. Well, it's beautiful when it's underwhelming in the sense that... So like, I remember when Rory first came on the pod, like for example, I was well nervous because I was like, but he's like calling his wife because the delivery driver's like put the thing around the back. And I think Chris Williams, and he was just like, yeah, he's a normal person. Chris Williamson, I don't know if you've ever listened to him. He's a British podcaster. He's in Austin. He's got a thing called the yogurt lid rule. And I think he was sat down with this author or writer that he'd revered for years and years. And they're about to start the podcast a bit like I was sat here. And the guy goes, I'm just going to grab a yogurt just before we start. And they're setting all the cameras up. And he eats the yogurt, and then he starts speaking to me. He's obviously got the lid of the yogurt, and he goes like that. Everyone does that. Yes. Licks the lid. And Chris is like, oh my God, this guy's just normal. This writer who's probably published, hundreds.
And by the way, think about the confidence that's required, or confidence, not to be confused with cockiness. But the confidence required to allow yourself to just be who you are in front of people like that. Whereas so many people, even some who are extraordinarily well-known and successful, that are so uncomfortable in their own skin that they need to pretend to be someone they're not, even for someone who looks up to them. As opposed to just saying, hey, this is who I am. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I am a normal person. And I just happen to have done something or said something that other people find intriguing. I love that about Rory. I think the same is true about Tim. I've also met other people who I obviously won't name who, after all they've done, still try way too hard to show up as a person that they are so clearly not. And that makes me sad.
Have you ever struggled with confidence?
For sure.
How did you build that?
I think my dad was a big part of that for me.
How so?
My dad is just like, when I was in high school, my mom's condition, she obviously couldn't drive me anywhere. I went to a private school and kids lived everywhere. So you had to be driven around to go hang out with people. He literally sold our house and bought a house a block and a half from our school that was intentionally designed to be where everyone hung out, so that I never had to rely on everyone else to drive me around, or never ended up getting left behind of all the social moments. Like, he was very intentional to make sure that he did the little things, that the external stuff never eroded the foundation of confidence that he wanted me to have. But he also embraced me for exactly who I was. Like, my dad, military guy, football player, big,
really?
Strong man, not a professional football player.
No, but so well, obviously there's a lot in your book. I didn't realize that from the book. I thought you'd always been in hospitality.
No. I'm saying like college football, All-American lacrosse, went into the military, was a first lieutenant, won a bunch of awards, medals rather. He's just a manly man. I went to high school. I played sports, but I was in a grunge band and bought my clothes at the Salvation Army, and I had hair down to here. And like, I was not, I'm sure, the son that he thought he was going to have at that point. But he totally celebrated every choice I made. And then I ended up doing all the stuff in restaurants and
Yeah.
but he never he focused on my development. He focused on my growth. He put me in positions there that would not erode my confidence. He pushed me outside my comfort zone, but embraced who I was. And he's the best.
Have you read Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way?
No, I've not.
Oh, it's a beautiful book. But what would you say is one seemingly insurmountable obstacle that retrospectively paved the way forward?
My mom. Definitively.
If she was around today, or you could have a meal with her today and create a moment of magic weaving or dream weaving, like what with your dad. Your dad's still around.
Yeah.
If that's right to go here, like what would you do? Where would you take her? What's the most beautiful place you've been to? Like, what would that be?
I mean, with her, it wouldn't even matter where we were. Like, I would so just love to sit across the table from her for hours and hours and hours. And someone who loves making my dad proud, I'd love to tell her everything I've done that I think she'd be proud of. And then I'd love to ask her a million questions so I could feel like I know her better. It wouldn't matter where we were.
Anything you'd really love to ask her?
No, just all the little things.
Yeah.
Just to fill in all the little gaps.
That's beautiful. And it makes me appreciate my relationship. A few more things and we'll wrap this up. I've absolutely fucking loved this, man. Like, I read the book so many times and like this has just made it, like, it's so sick. So with what's one truth you believe that most people would disagree with you on?
Small talk is a good thing. I think a lot of people like condemn small talk. They'll be like, I believe, like, I don't want to waste time with small talk. I believe that like real deep conversations is the only thing that matters. I agree. I love more deep connective conversation as exemplified by the things I was talking about with Priya Parker and focused conversations. And yet I think we are in a season where a lot of the deep conversation can be divisive and sometimes the little things that can be connective. And you need to start somewhere before you go deep. And I think so many people are so focused on efficiency that they're not making space for just silly small talk.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, because I suppose like, not that this might be a bit crass, but like small talk's essentially foreplay, right? Like you need it to get onto the deep things.
Yeah.
You can't just jump straight in there. What are some of the, like, I know you talked about The Gathering book, which I thought was really interesting. What are some of the books or the films that have really shaped your thinking?
I mean, my book does not exist without Set on the Table.
Yep.
I think The 1 Minute Manager is the greatest short book ever about being a good leader. Everything I talk about with praise and criticism comes.
What's the crack with that? What's the situation with that?
It'll take you 20 minutes to read it.
Yeah.
It's like this big. The font is this big. It's by Ken Blanchard. And it's all about like, it's in the title, The 1 Minute Manager, just how to like show up and lead well. And I read it in college, and every single time any manager comes onto my team, that's their assigned reading.
But I remember it because it's in your book, but the pithy sentence.
Rules of criticism.
Yeah, but that's...
Praise the person, criticize the behavior, not the person.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff.
Yes.
So many books. Those are like Set on the Table and 1 Minute Manager are the two that have stuck with me the longest in terms of like being formative parts of who I am.
How often do you read?
Not nearly as much as I'd like to now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I'm reading a book by this guy, Zach Cass, about AI right now, the new renaissance, which I'm very excited about. I've had it in my bag for 2.5 weeks. I'm 3 pages in. When I'm home, it's hard to find time to read. But remember what I was saying before about no? Getting better at saying no. Like, as my life changes, my habits need to change. And in the morning or at night is when I used to read. I can't read in the morning or at night anymore. And yet reading is a big part of who I've been. And so that means that I just need to carve out an hour in the middle of the day to read, which seems insane to me, to read at work. And yet, like...
Yeah, my mate, Jack Rubin, who's built a brand called Purdy and Fig in the UK. I mean, they are one of the greatest D2C stories, and they'd probably, your friend who you're talking about would love them. And it's essentially... no one has reinvented cleaning products.
Yeah.
So they've done like, as in household kitchen sprays and stuff. And they basically premise that you get a bottle come through, but you feel like you're in a luxury restaurant sort of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's D2C. And one of his things he does, and he does it in the middle of the they've scaled this to like, I think it's about in 3 years, 120 mil on D2C. It's one. I think it was the fastest growing company in the UK last year. Like it's a real success. It's the Harry Razors of UK.
There you go. Yeah.
As I was going to say, like that's the sort of level. He in his office, he has a chair, like a sofa in the middle, and he will literally not wake up. He will go and sit in the middle of the room in the middle of the day and read for 25 minutes. And I was like, he goes, one, I want the team to realise that reading is not a distraction. Reading allows you to see your business from 30,000 feet. Yeah. And two, he wants to encourage a culture of curiosity. He says that one thing has basically changed everything.
That's brilliant.
And it's like, and he goes, and he just encourages people, like, if you want to read, if you want to go on a walk, like you can do those things.
Yeah.
In terms of the systemizing magic and AI, I know you've talked about that. Like, how do you think? Do you know the restaurant Fallow? Have you seen Fallow in London?
No.
Oh, they're like again, big success story at the minute, but they're huge on socials and have an amazing restaurant. They were talking all about using AI in sort of the customer service side of things. Like, how do you think that will pan out in terms of? I mean, if you're reading a book on it, I'm just curious.
No, listen, I think there's a lot of people out there that think AI is antithetical to hospitality, and I believe the opposite to be true, so long as it's embraced in the right way. I think different people are going to use it for different reasons. Those that employ the technology solely for efficiency's sake will be making today dollars at the expense of tomorrow dollars. Those that recognize it as a tool not just for efficiency, but to refocus energy are the ones that I believe will win in the long term. What I mean when I say today dollars versus tomorrow dollars, that means maximizing profits today but degrading your long-term business over time.
And so you're saying AI will come in to essentially...
Those that use the technology just for efficiency, I think will be missing out on a lot of opportunity. So like, put it this way. Two companies, they do the exact same thing. AI can come in and replace 20% of their workforce, and they'll save a ton of money.
Yep.
Which that's coming across most industries. Company A does it. Lets 20% of their people go, replaces them with AI. Company B lets 10% of their people go, replaces all 20%'s functionality with AI, and redeploys the 10% that they did not let go to more meaningfully make the experiences as humanly possible. And uses AI as a tool to help them in that effort. Company B will win in the long term. Company A will lose. That I feel very strongly about.
What are some of those specific things they can use it for though now?
It's an impossible question to... Oh, what can they use it for now?
Yeah, like as in like in a restaurant setting, like is it remembering people's names?
Oh, no. No, what I'm saying is there's a lot of things that human beings do now.
Yep.
That don't impact the customer experience.
With you.
They're going to get replaced first.
Yep.
Now you can either just save all that money or think about how many, if you want to speak only about restaurants, think about how many restaurants that just don't have enough bodies on the floor. Or the experience just sucks because they're not paying people enough to get the best and brightest to work there. Like if you actually look at it as step one in a 2-step plan, to, yes, increase your bottom line, but also increase your effectiveness in actually providing an experience worth remembering. I think it's the people that look at it as an efficiency and a tool and an opportunity to be even better by redeploying human beings and allowing them to focus on the things that make their businesses human.
It's a co-pilot, not a pilot.
Exactly.
Final question, purely for my afternoon in Nashville, mate. Where's really good to go, man? Like in terms of, so I've done Dino's.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've got today, I've got tomorrow, but I'm now redoing the podcast I was meant to do on Saturday because we ended up getting just pissed. So he rocked up and was like, mate, we're meant to be recording it too. And I'm like, mate, I'm 4 deep. So like, yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, so what's like really banging food?
I mean, there's a place called Iggy's in Wedgwood, Houston that serves amazing pasta.
Really interesting.
There's a place called Kisser.
As in kiss her or K-I?
Kisser.
Oh, yeah.
By the Strategic Hospitality guys. They're some of the great operators here in Nashville.
Amazing.
And that's in East. And it's just amazing. It's more Asian food, but it's
lovely.
so good. There's also, same part of that company, they have a place called Baby Chan, which is like a bakery, and but also with savory food. Delicious.
What about the best like Nashville chicken?
Oh, I mean, some people would say Hattie B's, other people would say Prince's.
Prince's, yeah.
Brown's Diner is really, really good. That's like old school Nashville. Awesome. Arnold's Meat and Three is a classic. Like the one place on Broadway, and I'm having a moment, a senior moment right now, where they have great fried bologna sandwiches, and the music is actually awesome. And if you want to go experience Broadway, this is where you go. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, and then in terms of like drinking, I do that quite well.
Yeah, no. I mean, all these places you can drink at.
Yeah. Sick.
There's also a place in East called Skinny Dennis, which is really cool.
I went to Cafe Rose yesterday.
Cafe Rose is awesome. Right across the street, there's a place called Schulman's, which is awesome.
I went to Schulman's as well.
So fun.
Yeah. I went to
So
Schulman's.
good.
That's the thing I noticed here is when you the hospitality in terms of they all sell you in a most beautiful way a dish.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK you don't get that. So I walked in, they're like, I'm not doing an accent, but they're like, you need to try, not need to try, but they said it in the most beautiful way. This broth we've made, it's like all fresh, and it's got all these herbs and it's got turmeric. It'll make you feel amazing. I'm like, science.
At Cafe Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. Well, mate, it's been an absolute joy.
Thanks for coming to Nashville.
Well, thanks for being so
nice to meet you.
Generous with your time, man. I really appreciate it. Like, as I said, that book's been, I literally recommend it to everyone.
Thank you.
Ali, the guy who I met at the bar, at the pub, at Lucky Paddy's, he was like, oh, you do a podcast? I'm like, who are you here to, he was like, who are you here to interview? I was like, Will Guidara. He was like, bro, like, fuck, like, that book, or your book, is my Bible. He works in tech sales.
No way.
And I was like, it's so beautiful that kind of, that's what I really love the book for, is it's not just about hospitality, it's about life, creativity, generosity. And so it's just been an honor, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. That was absolutely sick.
Gloria said hi.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're loving the episode. I'd appreciate a really small yet significant favor, por favor. Please, may you click the subscribe button, get in the comments, tell me what you think about the episode, tell me what you think we did on the show. It may not seem much, but it really helps us grow and helps us get bigger guests. Thank you so much.